Hey guys, me Sam Stein, managing editor for The Bulwark, and we realized it's been nearly a year since we formed the trio between me, Tim Miller, and Will Sommer. So to celebrate the anniversary, we put together our favorite trio videos. We're talking Kash Patel's private jet, Nancy Mace screaming at airport security, Benny Johnson fighting with Milo, Scott Jennings getting embarrassed on TV, and much, much more. Within these wild times, hopefully these videos can bring you a little sense of relief and laughter. And if you like what you see, we're trying to get to 2 million YouTube subscribers. Yeah, that's 2 million. So consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already. Click that button. We appreciate it.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim Miller, and I'm here with my favorite trio. It is Sam Stein, managing editor of The Bulwark, and Will Sommer, author of the False Flag newsletter. Will did a guest slot in our Morning Shots newsletter, which you'll have to sign up for, thebulwark.com, a couple days ago now, where he talked about this interesting story where our FBI director, Kash Patel, took the FBI plane to see his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, sing the national anthem at a wrestling match. The wrestling match was in State College, Pennsylvania. So it's not WWE or WCW or EWF. This was RAF, Real American Freestyle. So a little more on that in a minute. But she had the great honor of singing the national anthem to that wrestling match, and the FBI director had to go watch it in person. So he flew there on his FBI jet. Will wrote about this for Morning Shots. A couple days later, butterfly flaps his wings, and a 27-year veteran of the FBI has been fired. So it's pretty bleak situation all around. But Will, why don't you kind of expand on my little summary there?
Yeah, sure. So the background here is that Kash Patel has this arch nemesis named Kyle Seraphin, a former FBI agent who's always kind of needling Kash and using his inside knowledge of the FBI to say, Kash screwed up again. And in this case, he pulled up the flight records. Well, when first Alexis Wilkins posted a picture of her and Kash at the wrestling match, Kyle Seraphin pulls up the flight records and shows, okay, so the plane takes off from the DC area, goes to State College, Pennsylvania, then goes to Nashville, where Alexis Wilkins lives. So basically, the FBI plane is being used to, basically make a weekend of it for Kash and his girlfriend. And from there, we wrote about it. A couple other outlets picked it up. And then it seems like Kash got pretty mad about it because plane's details are pulled from flightaware.com. The government requested that they not track it anymore. And then ultimately, Bloomberg reports that this 27-year veteran of the FBI, Stephen Palmer, whose purview included the planes, he's been fired over this.
So the Stephen Palmer here, I guess that the idea is he was the head of the Critical Incident Response Group, which includes the FBI pilots. This is the third person that is the head of this group to be fired or removed in Patel's short term. I just think that as silly as the wrestling part of the story is, it's pretty crazy, the amount of folks that are just getting pushed out of the Bureau right now. You would think that the Law and Order Administration would want to have good people around. But it seems like no, we're cycling through folks.
Yeah, this is it's a critical role. This is the guy who handles big deal incidents, and yet they're kind of kicking him to the curb.
But why are they kicking him to the curb? He didn't do anything.
I guess theoretically, Kash's argument is that, why did you allow this plane information to be publicly available? We really don't know, besides the Bloomberg reporting that Kash was furious about it. But again, it's not his fault that Kash took the plane. The thing I would say is Kash is legally required to fly in the plane. Both the Attorney General and the FBI director are required when they travel by plane to take a government plane because of the communications and the security issues. On one hand, you might say, well, maybe then Kash shouldn't be taking sort of 36-hour jaunts around the country just for personal reasons. But in the past, before he was FBI director, Kash Patel was very critical of Chris Wray and saying, this guy's just going off on these jaunts. He's misusing the plane. And now I think it's clear that Kash sees that this is bad. And that's why he has had this reaction.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different take on this. Good for Kash for seeing his girl. That's totally cool. I'm happy that he's doing it. I want the guy to feel in love. He should be able to have a nice romantic weekend. And if he needs to, jet set, he's obligated to take this plane. Good for him. Happy for Kash. I think there's some problems here. One is that he's doing it in the midst of a government shutdown, which maybe not optically is the best thing. And, for a college wrestling national
professional,
anthem? I don't
excuse me,
know.
real American
Sorry.
freestyle. It is former
On the college
wrestlers.
campus
They're
at
starting
State
a new
College.
professional league with Eric Bischoff. You might remember him from WCW.
I do not.
Hulk Hogan started
Fine.
it.
Okay, look, here's how I would have done it. I would have gone to the event. I don't think I would have gone to Nashville. I feel like that was excessive. I feel like you could defend going to the
Did I
event.
say that actually? Because that's true. The
Will said
plane
it.
went
Will
from
said
to State College, and then to drop her off,
and then to Nashville. That seemed a little excessive.
And
You don't
spend the
need
night
third
as
leg of
well.
that trip.
I should say. So it's it's not like it was a quick jaunt.
Okay, so
to
maybe I'm backtracking a little bit here. Hold on, hold on a second. So I'm glad that he is in love and that he feels the need to see his girl, and good for him. It is probably problematic to do 3-leg trips when you're the FBI director and spending a weekend during a government shutdown doing that, especially after you criticized your predecessor for using the jet the same way. And I think you're making it worse by firing this guy because the 27-year-old veteran did nothing wrong and he didn't deserve this. And I feel like, Cash, you should own that you stepped in.
Well, he supervises the FBI's aviation unit, so maybe he should have been a little bit more demure and in protecting the FBI's aviation units from the public.
I see what you're saying. So Cash is mad at him because he didn't say, Cash, you shouldn't do this.
No, maybe Cash is mad at him for not helping him keep it secret.
Oh, that for sure is what happened.
Cash should have scheduled
I
some kind
to
of
dissent with you, Sam.
Okay.
For starters, State College is a 3.5-hour drive from Washington. So during government shutdown, if you're desperate to see your girlfriend sing the national anthem for 1 minute and 48 seconds at the Real American Freestyle Wrestling match, then you could have somebody drive. Yeah, I don't think this would have been a story. You could have been in the back seat at a black SUV.
But what's the security detail on that trip? That costs money too. We probably
not plane level money. No. Then again, on the other thing, now Alexis, is a singer of some note, I guess. I'm pulling it up here. You can see it in the background. Her YouTube page has, she's getting 84,000 views on the latest video, rather. Most popular, 101,000 views, Old Fashioned Christmas. So he should have some other opportunities to hear her sing, I would think. I don't know that this minor league wrestling national anthem moment was critical that we would need government staffing to take him
Nothing's critical. Nothing's critical but love.
Yeah,
Nothing's
and he could have sent her an Uber.
That's what he's doing.
He's going to send her an Uber after she sang the national anthem, and she could have come to DC.
An Uber?
Yeah, they could have done an Uber black car
Uber from State College
to DC. Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. That would have been probably $500. That would have saved us a lot of money.
There's
and then
no way
that's
$500. No way.
800. And going to Nashville after that feels like a mistake. Also, I should just mention another interesting subplot of this, and I want to be very careful in how I say this. Kyle Seraphin has also brought up that Alexis Williams might be a Mossad agent.
Yeah, and she's suing him over that right now.
There's no care
involved in bringing that up.
I'm bringing it up by saying that he has made that accusation and she has sued him over it. And I'm just saying that because she is really hot and that's confusing.
Yeah, she's 19 years younger than Cash. The other thing I would note here is I do think some of this may be related to Kyle Seraphin. I wrote about him in False Flag. Cash has been driven mad by this guy. There are former FBI agents who are now suing, and they've said in court documents, Cash was urging me to file a lawsuit against Kyle Seraphin, and that he would set me up with lawyers. Basically, he really wants to get back at Kyle Seraphin for constantly needling him. And I'm sure the fact that Seraphin really picked up on this and ran with it and publicized it has made Cash even madder.
This is the real problem, right? Is that we have an FBI director who is just entrenched in the pettiest bullshit possible. He's the FBI director. You don't need to fire people because of this jet shit, and you don't need to worry about Kyle Seraphin. Do your job. Just do it.
I mean, maybe he gave a challenge coin out to the person that identified a fall man for this. And so, maybe I think that might be something that's happened internally. Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned about the state. It just feels like our priorities are a bit off. We're dropping people left and right. China experts leaving, critical response team members leaving. We're reassigning FBI agents to do perimeter support for deportations. it doesn't feel like our eyes on the ball.
The other thing I would note here is last week, in the wake of the Jet story coming out, that was when Kash Patel came out and made this announcement about this Michigan terror plot. Then reportedly people, law enforcement were saying this story was undercooked. We weren't ready for indictments. Kash kind of tried to grab some limelight before this was ready. And now look, at the time, I didn't think it was related to the
Kyle
Jet story.
Seraphin said that. Kyle Seraphin said, you go and you announce the indictments to take the heat off of you for your Jet story.
Well, he said that, but also there was reporting.
Kyle Seraphin's on a heater right now. That guy is like living it, and he just wants to be in Cash's head. Been watching this guy.
So it makes you wonder. I mean, maybe Kash was looking for kind of a different storyline. And the other thing is that Alexis Wilkins she was recently on One America News talking about how there might be terrorism sleeper cells and stuff.
There are sleeper cells here that are planning these horrible attacks, these ISIS style attacks, like we saw thwarted in Michigan this morning.
So it's are we getting our news from the FBI director's girlfriend about terror threats? It's a very strange situation.
That is concerning. I mean, just generally speaking, kind of looking back, like I don't remember Chris Wray's wife, going on like Wayne's World style media programs to like talk about the threats that they're hearing about in the bedroom. Like it does feel to be a little bit inappropriate. Like that's kind of non-traditional, I think. I don't know. Sam, you've been reporting in DC longer than me. Do you remember any spouses going on far right or far left, for that matter, media outlets to discuss sensitive information about our national security?
No. I was trying to think. Did Hillary do this in the 90s? I don't think so. I appreciate the transparency from the administration. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, one other thing I guess I should just mention, I was doing a little research. The Real American Freestyle. Do you know who's airing that program?
Fox Nation, the streaming platform for Fox
Nation, exclusive partnership with Fox Nation. So there's a nice little circle here where we have the country music singer that wants to be a right-wing influencer that is also dating the FBI director who is really, who's really punching up, let's say, in that relationship. And it is kind of a nice little circular feedback loop of grift there. You get the taxpayer-funded plane, you get to sing at this wrestling match, you air it on Fox Nation, you sleep with the FBI director, you get little tidbits you get to say on One American News. And Alexis is working it, I will say.
And she's linked up with Turning Point USA. I mean, she gave the opening speech before the J.D. Vance thing last week. So she's really embedded in that whole world.
I guess we'll have to are you monitoring her closely enough, Will?
I mean, I'm monitoring her from a reasonable amount.
There is something crazy about it, though, right? Like Turning Points is, they have this whole Tucker thing going on and Nick Fuente stuff, and they're warning about all these Israel influences, and yet you have this alleged Mossad agent doing the opening. There's a lot of like cross currents going on at TPSA right now.
Sam, alleged?
Alleged.
Are we saying that? Are we saying alleged? I'm just saying it's out there. I don't know if I even went as far as alleged.
That is why it's alleged. Yes, correct. It's out there. It is alleged.
Okay. Anything else, Will? Any other little side stories here? Side characters?
One thing I would say about Alexis Wilkins' speech at the Turning Point event was it was all about how like the professors hated her so much in college because she was conservative. And I looked it up and she went to like a Christian school. There was one point where they were like, we just want for extra credit or something. Can you go to a lecture about liberalism and Christianity? And she was like, absolutely not. And that was sort of her origins as a, I guess, troublesome college student. And so, it's a classic conservative influencer background. She got the country singing. I think she'll go far.
Yeah. She went to Belmont. Shout out Belmont in Nashville. Belmont's kind of an interesting story. It's not like Liberty. I think that Belmont is one of these classic stories over the last decade of like a kind of pretty straight edge Christian university that has like had MAGA creep, year by year, increasingly MAGA creep. So maybe it's possible that she had a couple lib teachers at Belmont. I'm on Alexis' side of this one. You never know. And I do think it's a little strange for you to like I don't really even remember most of my teachers from college. Like the idea that one of them was mean to me and that radicalized
She had multiple feuds ongoing with professors.
And like that is central to my identity as an adult. I think that's part is strange, but we're not, some of us are built different. Okay. Sam,
she's not that far removed. She's not that far removed from college. So maybe it's easier for her to.
That's a good point.
remember that stuff.
Young woman. Okay,
Where will the
listen,
jet
great.
go next?
It's always nice to hang out with you guys on a Sunday afternoon.
We'll never know because they stopped the tracker. It's annoying.
They've stopped the tracker. That feels illegal. We're paying for the plane. Shouldn't we know where it's going?
Well, there is one way. There is one way you could find out, and this is how it all started. Is she posted a photo of Cash? Like that's 101. Like if he's mad about the disclosure of his travel, he should turn and look at his girlfriend who posted it on Instagram. He's just there looking happy.
I don't think you can fire the girlfriend. He's on his third leader of the special response unit, and I'm not sure that there are 3 Alexis's.
Why not fuse Cash. It? Let her become let her take the job.
Right. That's Sam Stein and Will Sommer.
We've been putting this video off for a bit, multiple days now, and I think it's just been time to actually do the video. We're going to be talking about Nancy Mace, who's been acting erratically, I think, to say the least. It started with an episode at an airport in Charleston, her home district, and it's kind of gone on for like a week now. Just incredible tweeting, accusations of someone covering up pedophilia, multiple declarations of hold the line, which seems to be her calling card. Tim's insistent that it has something to do with
we're holding the line against transgenderism. Hold the line. Holding.
But why does that relate to this?
It's a straight line. We're holding it.
It doesn't have anything to do. There's nothing to do with.
You're going to hold the line until everyone has to do a dick check on the way into the women's bathroom
at the Charleston airport. That's got to be the cue. All right, so Tim, before I get to Will to sort of summarize what the fuck's happening, what are your initial thoughts on your girl Nancy Mace?
I've come around on Nancy because I want her to be the governor of South Carolina. I think the Republicans deserve this.
Okay,
they deserve it. I mean, they've created this monster, and now I think that they should have to live with it. I mean, I think she's obviously having a psychotic break. I think that's very clear.
Yeah.
She has gone off the deep end on a wide variety of issues. She did a Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve tweet recently. And like that's where she's at right now. And shout out to the Supreme Court for upholding gay marriage, by the way, this morning that we're taping. That's another L for Nancy. But I mean, I think that I don't know exactly what is happening in her personal life that has caused a psychotic break. It seems bad. But I think on top of that, she was getting attention and she was getting, starting to like that new positive attention she was getting from the MAGA right. And she has gotten high on her own supply.
Seems like it. All right, Will, can you summarize what exactly has transpired here?
Yeah, so I mean, just focusing, it's kicking it off from the airport incident. On October 30th, Nancy Mace is supposed to be given this kind of congressional security entry through the sort of a security escort through the Charleston airport.
Which I'm against, by the way. I just want to throw this out here just as a general manner, as just a baseline. I'm a man of the people. And you are not special as a congresswoman, actually. You are a representative. You should wait in the fucking security line with all of us. Like there should not be why does she have to not wait in line and take off her shoes? What is different about her than me? All she is a congressional representative.
Yeah, she was elected by her fellow peers. You were not.
Yeah. To be a congressperson, to vote on issues, not to get special treatments at the airport.
All right.
That's okay. Does she get to at the grocery store? Do Congress people get to go into the 10 items or less line when they have 15 items?
In fact,
I don't think so. I don't see why they should.
You don't read
Sorry,
the print,
I'm egalitarian. I'm a man of the people. I apologize, Will. I just need to get that out there.
I think you make a lot of good points, Tim. Nancy Mace, I think, would disagree. So she really seems to prize this security escort. And so it's the morning, I believe, of October 30th. She shows up. The security is told to wait for her. She'll arrive at like 6:15 in a white car. She's 30 minutes late in a gray car. So the police say, well, we didn't see her at the drop-off line. We don't meet up with her. Then at the security line, she's getting really mad because she doesn't have this escort. The cops show up and say, oh my gosh, Nancy Mace, all right, let's bring you through the line. And she's saying things, according to the police report, she's saying, you're effing incompetent. She says you wouldn't treat Senator Tim Scott this way, which sort of suggests some kind of, South Carolina politico insecurity. And basically
or reverse racism. I think that's an accusation of reverse racism, that the security guards are too woke. And so they're treating her badly as a white person. I
Hold the
was
line.
the accusation.
So this police report comes out. It's not really a crime per se, but I think understandably, perhaps the security guards there felt the need to document what had happened. And so then I believe NBC first reports it. Nancy Mace, rather than saying, well, yeah, I was mad because I didn't have my guards or whatever, she goes on the offensive. She says this Charleston airport's out of control. You know, they have all these security breaches. She's really attacking this airport.
Did though
My new thing though, Sam, if she has hold the line, mine is now going to be wait in line. Wait in line, Nancy. You're not better than any of us. And if you're a Democrat running in 2028, this is my JVL version of tear down the ballroom. You should stand in the back of the security line. Say, I'm with you. Okay?
Not even like
Nancy is for they, them. I am with you. I wait in line and I take off my shoes.
Yeah, a true Paul of the people wouldn't even do pre-check. Just go straight general admission. Like me, I still do that shit. I'm a man of the people.
That's cool.
You don't have TSA pre?
I don't even have pre.
What?
I wait in line.
That is insane.
No way, man. I'm a man of the people. Just you can't have it both ways, Tim.
Either
you're a man of the people.
I wait in line at pre-check. I mean, please.
No. It's fine. I think pre-check's
okay.
overrated.
So that's where we're at. Then what happens?
So, but this is the thing is that kind of elevated the story. Will noted she went on the attack. She posted this video of the situation, and it's like a hodgepodge of angles from different security cameras, and then she set it to this kind of bizarre, dramatic music. So let's play a little tidbit of it. And then she cuts out a critical 3 minutes. So she's walking there. Something's going on with the security people. It seems like there's about to be a confrontation. And then it skips 3 minutes ahead. And no one's seen these 3 minutes, right? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, I mean, so there's this big jump. Nancy Mace has been kind of doing all this documentary evidence. She's like, I'm going to file a Freedom of Information Act request to get all this information. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And then she has this video that includes sort of she appears to be kind of revving up to yell at someone, and then it goes clip, and then she said, "Look, we're all friends after that."
Yeah, I don't know. She's not very good at this. She did continue to post though, and it just went like more extreme from there. So then her opponent in the election, who is the Attorney General Alan Wilson.
I'm sorry. Before you get to the Attorney General, I got to interrupt because you really
Sure.
downplayed it there. Okay, like, we need to be a little bit more accurate.
Sure.
This is what do they call it about Trump? Sane washing. You were doing a little sane washing by saying that Nancy Mace continued to post about this. She posted 105 times about this.
Is that it?
Like her personal, like, and those are original posts. That's not counting the reposts.
Okay.
There was one day in which she posted like 62 times. I am a social media addict. Okay. I have a problem. I need to see a therapist about it. And like, I post way too much than is healthy. I don't think I've posted 63 times in a day ever. She posted that many times just about this security incident and about how she felt like, her honor was impugned by the great and good public servants there at the Charleston airport.
Yeah.
And like, that is insane. Like, that is the behavior of a mad person. Like, imagine if you had a friend in your life and they had an incident on a plane where they're upset, about something. They were told to put on their seatbelt by the stewardess when they didn't want to, whatever. And they thought that it was unfair. And then they posted to their social account 63 times. I mean, you would have an intervention with that friend. You would just say, bro.
Yeah. It does strike me as like peak Elon during like the Doge meltdown days when he was just going nuts. It's like
4:53 a.m.
Yeah. What are you doing, man? Like, get a few hours of sleep or something.
So I mean, basically, she alleges or has implied that this was this plot by the airport. And I will say, all these other Republicans in South Carolina have come out and said, we love the airport. Tim Scott says, look, I don't know why my name got pulled into this. A lot of Republicans locally have signed letters defending the airport. And her opponent in the governor's race showed up with...
I'm going to get to that guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to get to that guy. But I will dwell on Tim Scott for a little bit. Because this was a bit of a drive-by. Like, imagine you're Tim Scott and you're just sitting around. You don't know anything's about to happen. And then Nancy Mace just drops you into this insane controversy. And you're like, Why are you doing this to me? I have no involvement in this. Please leave me
I'm
out
gonna
of
start.
this.
I'm gonna start using this myself at restaurants. Like if
What?
you're waiting around for the check a little bit
You want
too
to do this to
long,
Tim
you know.
Scott?
Like I finished eating. Like I finished eating 14 minutes ago. Would it take that long to bring the check to Tim Scott? If it was Tim Scott instead of Tim Miller, would he be getting this kind of service?
Yeah, that'd be great. Tim Scott notably pushed back on Facebook, not Twitter. Make of it what you will. Alan Wilson, the Attorney General for South Carolina, who's running against Nancy Mace for governor. That's the other thing, though. She's running for governor and having this incredible meltdown online, and still leading the polls, which may give Tim what he wants.
Very
Here.
tight, though. I guess
Yeah,
I
it's
just
tight.
say it's very.
Yeah.
They're all in like the teens. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
a
that's
clear
fair.
leader.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so Alan Wilson goes to the airport and brings Chick-fil-A to the TSA agents there. Fairly
And Waffle
standard.
House, which is crucial because she was a Waffle House waitress. This is deep South Carolina lore. There's like a dig there.
I did not pick up on that.
This is why we keep you here, Will, to know about that lore.
So yeah, he shows up, and Nancy Mace, in like an only way that she can escalate things, responds to him and calls him a pedophile protector, and then asks if he rode in on a pedo van this morning to deliver them.
Feels like you're really taking it to 11 there.
It's like it's 21. It's like it's just so, like what the fuck? It doesn't. He just gave these people fucking chicken, and she's like, "You pedo." Like what the fuck? Anyways, I don't.
Don't come for Nancy. You best not miss. Okay, I guess that's.
I know
that's the message she's sending.
It's just wow. I mean, there is some backstory to there. She argues that he did not go forward with some case that she was. I don't even know the backstory, but she's calling him a pedophile. There is a backstory in there. And anyways, so Tim Scott then weighs in, and then Lindsey Graham, and this is just Nancy doing.
Actually, can we just? I'm sorry, we have to pause there because it is worth noting the backstory because it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
where Mace. I mean, child predator stuff isn't funny. Okay, obviously, no, you don't want any child to be exploited, but it's funny in the sense that Nancy Mace just can't read, and like the main claim that she has is that like he has a low conviction rate when it comes to child pornography and exploitation of children, but like she seems to have confused like the rate of cases that they're look into versus charges. So it's just a matter of she doesn't understand.
All right, and then Lindsey Graham comes in, chimes in, and says he concurs with Tim Scott. That you gotta be respectful of TSA agents and people who work at security at the airport. And of course, she responds by just saying Lindsey's gay. Like, it's just so. It really is throwing some haymakers. Kind of admire it.
She's mad. She wanted that escort. Basically, is what this comes down to.
Really it's so funny. She did not get her police escort.
She's just going to
fast forward
people.
2 weeks, and now it's just like Lindsey Graham, you are a flag. I don't know. Withhold the line. Also on the tweet where she accused of being gay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess what my challenge to Nancy would be on that one is I would like to see the receipts. Because otherwise, this feels like you're just, leveling false accusations out there.
Well, I'm kind of confused why the video that 3 minutes hasn't been produced. I have to assume it will eventually get out there, right?
I have no. Where did she get the video from in the first place? I don't know. I know there have been some FOIAs.
Well, how did the video get produced in the first? The incident got out there in the first place because, and this was kind of a little shady. Will, you and I were talking about this, but like, what was the outlet that broke it? They knew to FOIA the TSA or the.
I believe it was NBC News that got their hands on the report. I mean, clearly, look, I don't think Nancy Mace is known for like the loyalty she generates with her staff, and so I don't know if that's related to it. But clearly, South Carolina's got a hotbed for political intrigue, so I think there's probably a lot of people who are happy to see that come out.
But NBC knew to ask for this incident report. Someone told NBC, is my guess, hey, you got to file a request or ask them about this incident report. And then they got their hands on it, and then that probably set her off because it's very clear that the security there was very happy to comply with NBC to talk about this.
And it's important that you're referencing there, Will. She does have like a lot of ex-staff that think that she's an insane, that put on the record their view that she is a totally insane person who needs psychological
completely.
help.
The other thing that's happening here is that she's got a defense lawyer, and people will recognize this name. It's, well, maybe they won't, but it's Larry Klayman. And Larry Klayman is, I got to be honest, like a real nut. Like he's known across the country as one of the weirder defense attorneys. He is the most litigious person. Among his clients include Laura Loomer, George Zimmerman, Roy Moore, Jerome Cosi, Jennifer Flowers was a one-time client as well. And there's a whole host of other government officials. Anyone who like needs to file a frivolous lawsuit in conservative politics likely goes to Larry Klayman. Please don't file a lawsuit against me, Larry. I'm just speaking in generalities. I don't mean to besmirch your name. But Will, he also is about to be disbarred in Florida, or he has been
suspended. Yeah, he's had a lot of bar issues both in D.C. and now Florida. One of them is he was representing a woman in a sexual harassment case, and then he allegedly expressed some strong feelings, as it's described, towards her. And so, basically, this has kind of been. This is sort of a years-long saga, but last week...
that feels like an oopsie. Like, you're not supposed to do that. I don't
Larry, you got to hold the line.
Last week, Florida decided, okay, he's going to be suspended for 2 years. This has come up in Laura Loomer's lawsuit against Bill Maher and HBO. But this is also who supposedly is going to represent Nancy Mace in her lawsuit against, the gang stalking and the betrayal that the Charlotte airport inflicted upon her.
All right. How do you think this ends, Tim?
Speaking of lawsuits, are we not going to bring up the ex-fiance's lawsuit? Because I feel like that's another thing. I mean,
you can talk about it. It's, yes, that's true.
Okay, great.
Here
we go. There's another lawsuit.
Here.
Yeah. Well, Nancy Mace, who again you'll want to remind you, is now his position is that marriage is not for Adam and Steve, even though she's had 2 failed marriages and a failed fiance, a fiance that broke up with her. But they broke up a little while ago. Mace earlier this year went on the House floor and went, quote, scorched earth, accusing him and several of his friends of being sexual predators. It was at the time a pretty weird speech, just in like the sense of like, why are we talking about this on the House floor?
Well, the reason why is because the speech and debate clause made her immune in theory towards countersuits.
Got it. And so, anyway, a countersuit is happening nonetheless. Her estranged lover, ex-fiance Patrick Bryant. This is the gentleman that she referenced during the prayer breakfast. Remember when she was speaking at a prayer breakfast and talking about how her boyfriend was giving her the business that morning?
Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast.
Yeah.
That was Patrick Bryant. I assume that was consensual since she bragged about it at the prayer breakfast. But anyway, he has filed a countersuit saying that Nancy Mace hacked his phone, tracked his car, and falsely smeared him as a rapist. And he's claiming that she cooked up the fake gang rape claims to blackmail him and to get access to 2 homes that are worth $6 million. So I don't know. It's more of a he said, she said situation, but it's an interesting note when you consider that, some context around Nancy Mace's behavior and her accusations against the good men and women of the Charleston airport who forced her to wait in line like the rest of us plebes at security.
I will just say, this is a real test about how much the voters are willing to tolerate in terms of the drama quotient of candidates. Yeah. Like, is there actually too much drama around someone for you to say, I kind of want that?
I mean, she has lapped Trump. Trump dined out on being like all drama all the time.
But yeah, this is insane. This is like, this is Jerry Springer meets. Well, Jerry Springer was an elected official, so this is the personification of Jerry Springer and the two mergings of his 2 careers. I think people close to her probably need to like talk to her and maybe offer a hand or a conversation, or just tell her that it's okay to not spill out all your tea for public consumption. Just my 2 cents. Any other thoughts, guys? Or are we going to end it there?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this governor's race, Nancy Mace has a narrative challenge here. On one hand, she's the person arguing about getting to skip the security line, and her opponent, the attorney general, is the guy who delivers Chick-fil-A. So she needs to change it up.
Well said, Will. I appreciate that. Tim, any other thoughts?
I think that's great. I try to stay away from Nancy Mace if I saw her in public. I think would be my final message. She seems not great.
Hold the line. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing to the feed. Appreciate that too. Talk to you. Hey, everybody. It's me, Sam Stein, managing editor at The Bulwark. I am joined by Tim Miller and Will Sommer. It's your favorite trio. This is a Bulwark Take production. So, subscribe to that feed. We're going to get into the habit of saying it's Bulwark Takes. I was told that we should do that.
Yeah, and subscribe. We wouldn't have to do that if you people would just subscribe. Okay, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. I
appreciate that. Never have I been more nervous about a Bulwark Takes than this one. This has such high potential to go off the rails in multiple directions, including legal ones. So I'm going to play the role of, organizer here, and I'm going to let these two fellas cook. Yeah. This is about Benny Johnson and Milo Yiannopoulos. They appear to be tiffing over the weekend. Will, as the person who swims in these waters most, what is going on?
Sure. So Benny Johnson, very prominent right-wing podcaster. He's been dogged, I would say, for years by accusations that I would say are unfounded, at least publicly, that he's gay. And Milo Yiannopoulos, kind of longtime right-wing provocateur. Well, we'll get to that, Tim.
We made it a minute.
Unfounded. I was with you. The word unfounded felt a little far. Then, maybe you could say disputed. I would say disputed.
Let's say disputed.
Maybe unfounded.
And so Milo Yiannopoulos, kind of longtime right-wing provocateur, he goes on Tim Pool's show and really goes on the offensive and says, we all know these stories. Everyone in the conservative world knows these stories about Benny being gay and hooking up with guys. This is important because Benny has really positioned himself as like a very traditional family man. He has a bunch of kids. He's married to a woman. And now it's gotten to the point where Benny is threatening to get revenge in the legal arena.
I should just add on to that really quick. Traditional family man is important because he has positioned himself specifically like in the capital T trad sense. Like I've watched speeches at TPUSA where he talks about traditional family, get a wife, get a piece of land, get children. Not like I'm also a family man. I have a family, but I don't know that counts in his view. I think that's an important way to
yes.
It's
and I think that was Milo kept pointing. I think Milo pointed out that he keeps posting pictures of his family. He's very public about it. But I guess before I turn it over to Tim about this stuff, the only thing that has been kind of unanswered to me, Will, is just why now? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I believe Milo has brought this issue up in the past, but I think we can see this as part of a broader attack on kind of like the ramparts of establishment conservatism. We can look at Candace Owens' conspiracy theories about Turning Point USA. We can look at, the rise of Nick Fuentes. And Milo I don't think this is as big a deal as those other things, but Milo's kind of like putting his little ladder up on the castle and trying to climb up. He sees Benny correctly as kind of like part of the Turning Point USA operation broadly.
Yeah, before we get into the prurient stuff, this is important about why this matters in this broader crack up that we're seeing on the MAGA right. And you can think about it, I think, more as, there's kind of a couple of factions. There's like a traditional, I don't think there's any old establishment anymore, but there's like a MAGA establishment, which is like people that have traditional Republican views that have Donald Trump, an artifice, like a Trumpian orange artifice on top of their traditional Republican views. Ben Shapiro would fit that category. Then you have kind of like the MAGA establishment, which was basically Charlie Kirk was representing that, like more MAGA views, departing from the net true conservatism on a variety of issues, particularly foreign policy in Israel. And then you have kind of this outsider group that is trying to argue that they are the real MAGA, right? That they represent the real MAGA establishment. And that is what this fight is about, like the Kirk legacy, where you will have, Milo is on with Tucker. You have the Milo, Tucker, Candace crowd, arguing their view. And I think Benny, in his way, having been, working with Charlie and having always speaking at Charlie's events and being the brains behind, so this may be something to think about, the stagecraft at the TPUSA events. He was very big on stagecraft.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing, just pointing that out. And so he is, I think that is when you say why now, right? Like that is part, like this ongoing broad fight over the Kirk legacy and who represents the MAGA establishment. Benny is in that more traditional side.
And he's got 4 million followers.
Huge
Twitter.
audience.
He's a huge audience. I'll just note, like, so I think it's worth just sort of going over how this all started again, because basically Milo's going on Tim Pool's podcast, and well, correct me if I get anything wrong. Says Benny's always posting pictures about his children, and
should we just watch the video?
Yeah, watch the video.
One of the most distinctive things about the right wing in this country is its homosexual overtones. Benny Johnson posts pictures of his children every 2 days. It's weird. And everybody knows what went on with Benny Johnson in those lobbies and in those hotel rooms at SAS. Everybody knows.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Men. Younger men, not underage. At least I don't know that.
Wait.
His wife was crying drunk in the lobby 3 SASs in a row about how her husband was upstairs with boys.
Come on.
Like, go ask her.
Come on.
Go ask her.
Come on, Milo.
Go ask her.
Milo, aren't you ever scared of getting sued? You say some crazy... I'm sitting here like I am humbled by the lore and your ability
the audacity.
There's no teapots in this room right now to express how I feel.
George, I have said these things about people for 20 years and never once in my career been sued. I've issued 3 corrections in my entire journalistic career because I get my facts right, and people know that they do not want to go through discovery.
Actually, I want to say this.
I've never been sued for anything I've ever said about anyone.
The one thing I need to say this. I need to say this.
Because I'm right.
So what stands out to me here is that's George Santos.
Is there.
George Santos being the voice of reason, telling and saying, hey, Milo, aren't you afraid of getting sued? George Santos recently pardoned George Santos, saying, hey, buddy, you might want to, I don't know, take it a little bit easy on the libel. Sorry, I can't with George Santos. Tim, you have some thoughts about adding people in general that I know you want to get into. What did you make of that?
Yeah,
segment?
well, I made a couple things. Milo feels like he's on sturdy turf.
Allegedly outing. Allegedly.
Milo feels like he's on sturdy turf. So we'll just start there. He did not seem at all concerned about the legal threats or the legal concerns. I think that's one thing I took. I'm going to get into why I think why, but I just kind of setting the table, because even I get sometimes a little bit uncomfortable, particularly when I see like liberal straights very excited about outing conservative gays. Like sometimes they're a little too excited for my taste. And I'm like, okay, guys, all right. I think maybe we can, show a little bit more judgment here. Because I think that it isn't as cut and dry as it always is. I'm not going to get Sam uncomfortable and blushing talking about sexuality, but it's very possible that people can have gay urges and act on them at times and also have happy heterosexual families. And that's fine. And I think when you put yourself in the role of God and start saying, oh, I'm going to decide who and what needs to be revealed about other people's lives, that makes me uncomfortable at times. I think that there are obviously exceptions to that. You have a pastor out there that's doing gay stuff while doing conversion therapies. We could go down the whole list. I think that there are various.
What else is on your list?
Judgment calls. Well, I think in the case of Benny, I wouldn't call it outing, I guess. I mean, Benny tweeted himself a picture of a website he was on that included gay cruise advertisements, and he was using this to pretend to be outraged on behalf of the people who care about traditional values, saying that why is this smut on my computer, not realizing that those ads are targeted to people that search for such matters. My guess is that, Sam, you've never had a gay cruise ad delivered to you.
If I have, so be it. I don't really
exactly
care,
sure.
I have not. Yeah.
Anyway, there are also, again, the other pieces of evidence that Milo put forth, including among this. Again, this is not me outing him. This is just saying Saeed Jones
Allegedly outing. Go ahead.
Yeah, over at the Vibe Check podcast, Saeed Jones said that he kissed Benny Johnson in the dressing room at the BuzzFeed holiday party in 2013. I would say, to defend Saeed's honor, that he writes it haunts him to this day. Okay. I mean, again, that's a guy saying that. And then we can go through what Milo said. The point is that like in this case, there's a long documented list of things that Benny's been well aware of while he's been positioning himself as like the representative of trad values to the youth. And what goes around comes around on that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you a question? Let's say Benny responds and Benny's wife responds and they say, they're going to sue. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Benny also said Tim Pool called him and apologized for, I guess, platforming Milo. What if, like, tomorrow Benny were to come out and be like, you know what, I am bisexual? Like, would there be, I'm not saying he is, I'm just not, but what would be the actual reaction, do you think, in the movie?
It would be very negative. Yes. I mean, Benny has really, and Tim was getting to this point is, I mean, Benny is kind of positioning himself as like one of the heirs of Charlie Kirk. I mean, he is really up there in terms of influence and power and audience. Mm-hmm. And for him to come out and say, you know, well, yeah, maybe I hooked up with these guys. I mean, I think it would definitely sort of change his trajectory on the right. I mean, I think you can look at guys who are, you know, out right-wing influencers. And typically, there are people like Rob Smith who just went to Qatar, you know, much more marginal figures, than someone like Benny, who, you know, as we talked about, has really made his family like a huge part of his identity as a commentator.
And Christianity, and traditional Christian values. Look, I every year I've gone. I'm skipping it this year for mental health purposes. Maybe back in 2026. So I don't think I can do it this year. Did I not told you that?
You haven't told me that.
It's just sad. A lot. I don't know. Flying to Phoenix, the Charlie Kirk. We'll talk about it.
That's offline. A lot. Yeah,
anyway, right. I've been skipping it. I think I'm going to skip it this year, but I've been going for several years now, and it's not just like, you know, paying lip service to, it's not just like the trolling, which he does, of gays and of, you know, people who present their gender differently or people of different types of families. He does all of that kind of trolling, and he did. I mean, in his speech, I think a year or two ago, I don't even remember who was Biden had somebody that had worked in the administration that was trans, that was stealing luggage, Sam something. Yeah. Anyway, like his whole speech was just making fun of that guy. Like it was just a series of, so insulting other people is a key part of his deal. But also, like, they did a lot with like Christian fellowship and traditional Christian fellowship and gathering with the guy. So I to your point about like, could it hurt? I'm like, could you exist as a gay influencer on the MAGA right? Like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned George Santos, you mentioned Rob Smith. Like, you can exist, but
I mean, Milo and George Santos were both on the podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, Milo has been ostracized to the, you know, to the total outskirts of this thing. And at the position where he is, at the amount of money that he's bringing in, and the way in which that they have like intermingled the traditional Christian evangelical organizations with their political organization, right. I think it would be very challenging for him. And so, that's one element to consider. And also, you just look at this poster, he's pushing it back. He's like, "We're happy, they're miserable," and it's like, I look at that and I'm like, maybe he's happy. He might be happy. I don't know. As I said, you can have a happy family and also have other sexual ideas, but like they're miserable. Like this is core to what he's saying, right? Like that the people that are not doing it in the traditional man, woman, child, have a home in the farm country. The people who aren't doing it that traditional 1950s way are miserable and wrong and bad. And it's hard to kind of make that argument when you're palling around at the TPUSA conference.
Palling around. He did say demon possession is real, man. Christians speak out against demons. So I think he does have fairly.
Can we read views. Some of Milo's tweet responding to the alleged?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I think that Milo, you never want to hand it to Milo. I'm going to start this by saying that Milo is a serial liar and provocateur.
Yeah,
and yet. It also does not look like somebody who is scared that much about legal action. The people who have poured money into making you a big deal are about to lose their entire investment if you sue me. He continues, I know more about your marriage than you think I do, and I have evidence and I have witnesses. I know who to subpoena. I know what questions to ask about nocturnal liaisons dangereuses with chaps in assless chaps being caught in flagrante delicto at conferences attended by students. No, and then he goes on to apologize to Benny's wife for telling her that she looks old and looks twice her age. And then goes on to talk about how she was crying and he feels bad for her because she was crying several times. And Benny
Sorry, what does infrante delicto mean?
In flagrante delicto.
What does it mean?
You never heard of that?
Delicious.
Never heard of
flagrante.
That means you were caught, in the act.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll put that into my copy more often. All right. Well, that's a great way to end this.
Can I just make one more point?
Sure.
Please.
After the Charlie Kirk assassination, Benny Johnson was talking a lot about how Charlie saved him from what Benny described as degeneracy. Now, Benny talked a lot about, in part, drinking too much, and I guess being an alcoholic essentially is how he described it. But he also just kind of described degeneracy more broadly. Now, typically on the right, when people are talking about degeneracy, they typically mean of a sexual variety. He didn't really get into it, but it's just sort of one more bit of that's floating out there, I think, when people on the right look at Benny.
I will have to take one more hit at Milo while we're using his, laundering his attack on Benny Johnson here. I should at least say in the scale of Milo, none of his arguments make any sense. And he goes on to Tucker last week, and we did a little bit of this, Sam, on the podcast people should go listen to. But he's on the one hand, he's gay isn't real. It's nothing. It's just a trauma response. And then on the other hand, he's these people are definitely gay. And then Tucker is asking him, what is gay? And, he doesn't bring up the fact that Tucker admitted that when he was a young person, he had a bathroom encounter where he felt very offended that a gay person had, I guess, come on to him when he was in high school, and that informs his views. So, these guys kind of basically, they want to use gay to just shorten it. They want to use gay to advance their factional arguments however they see fit. You know what I mean? And I do think that is the sum of what's happening here, which is that nobody actually cares about gay sex in these arguments. None of these people have rigid ideologies around this. None of these people care about. It's not like they have genuine care about Benny's kids or any of that. It's just using it as a cudgel in whatever way is convenient at the moment.
It is notable that in Milo's telling, someone who's been in a gay relationship for a decade, Pete Buttigieg is faking it, and someone who's been in a straight relationship for a decade, Benny Johnson, is faking it, and they're just either hiding their sexuality or using it politically for their advantage. So
it is worth noting.
Not going to necessarily go off of exactly Milo alone. George Santos, voice of reason. All right, Will, Tim, appreciate you both. Everyone, subscribe to the feed where we have elevated conversations about homosexuality and the right. Take care.
Hey, everybody. It's Tim Miller here. There's so much out there. We had so many topics that I've summoned the trio together on a variety of things. We're going to let Sam run the show. But among them, I absolutely want to talk about Sam being filleted on the internet for a very mean tweet about Amy Klobuchar. I want to talk about Dan Bongino fighting Matt Gaetz and Milo. I want to talk about an influencer reality show. I want to talk about I want to deport Nicki Minaj. I'm very excited about this. I want to talk about that. And Will wrote an article about how MAGA is reacting to Venezuela. And so I'm thrilled. I have turgidity. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm supposed to pick up. You want to talk about? You want me to MC a part of this show?
You don't take over the rest of the show. I just wanted to tell everybody why we're together. I was so excited, and I wanted to lay out the topics I wanted to talk about, and then hand it over.
Sure. Let's just start with me being, in your words, filleted on the internet. I had no idea I was being filleted. For the Klobuchar tweet? That seems
you're getting crushed. Really? Sam Stein sent a tweet that said Amy Klobuchar for governor, what was it? A fork?
a comb in every salad, a chicken in every pot.
A comb in every salad, chicken in every pot. It's a reference to when Amy Klobuchar threw a comb at a staffer.
No. She got mad at a staffer because she couldn't find a fork for her salad, and so she ate the salad with her comb. It seems like
it's really funny. There are a lot of you can tell the Blue Sky people have moved back to Twitter. They're like, Sam's being so mean to Amy Klobuchar. Sam's a misogynist. Sam, it's you can see the bias showing in your thing, Sam. It's like, shut the fuck up, everybody. Shut the fuck up. It's a funny joke. It was a little joke. It was a throwback to the comb salad incident of Amy Klobuchar. They put themselves into public life. They can be teased a little bit. We're going to laugh a lot at Benny Johnson's grinder habit here in a second. We can also laugh at Amy Klobuchar's salad fork eating. So if you're one of those people unhappy with Sam, I'm so disappointed in you, Sam. Do better. Shut up.
Hasn't Amy Klobuchar like made light of it too? I feel like she leaned into this one. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I don't know.
Yes, of course. Amy loves it. Amy loves being mean. Can I tell you Amy Klobuchar? Sorry, Will hasn't even got to talk yet. Will's going to talk eventually, I promise. I was at a party. I hate the DC parties. I'm not a DC party circuit person like Sam.
Yeah.
I moved for a reason.
I haven't been to a DC party in years.
I went to one. It was like a brunch, and I was hungover. And I was kind of hungover at brunch. And I was with Liz Smith, who was Pete Buttigieg's comms person.
We all know Liz.
And Amy Klobuchar walks over. And I like not drunkenly, I wasn't really drunk yet, but I was like at a hungover phase. It was kind of awkward between her and Liz, because of the Pete Amy tensions.
Yeah.
And I tried to break the ice, and I was just like, Senator, it's okay. Like, don't worry. Pete's kind of a grower. Like, he grew on, I didn't like him at first either. He grew on me.
Oh, that type of a grower.
And she was like, what? And then Liz is like, you just called Pete a grower in front of Amy Klobuchar? And then Amy laughed a lot. And then there was a good exchange where she was she was like, me and Pete are fine. That's all internet stuff. It makes me laugh. She has a sense of humor. You should too. That's all. Okay.
I mean, I'll just say, I don't apologize for my tweet. And I think if the senator were on here, she would probably come on with the comb and be eating out of a salad with it to make good light of it. And people just need to relax. Also, as I've said a million times, probably on some of these takes, I kind of enjoy internet hate, and I'm a little upset that I missed it. So I'm going to go sign.
Yeah, go look at your replies. It's not good.
Yeah, I'll do that after we're done recording. All right, can we move on? Because I want to get Will in here. So let me just pick up by saying Will tweeted something. I hadn't seen it before Will tweeted it. And there's this show that's coming out. This is because
I get the new stuff. I get it right when it comes out. So
okay, got you. So I just want I have no idea who basically 90% of these people are, maybe 95%. But there's a political influencer reality show apparently coming to Amazon. I'm throwing a lot of apparentlys there because it's not clear to me if it's coming to Amazon. Will, can you just talk a bit about what we're going to watch here? Because we're going to play part of the trailer for this insanely dumb show that we're all going to probably binge watch.
So this is a show from a guy named Xavier Desrousseaux, who is sort of a C tier.
Is that his real name?
It's unclear to me. A lot of these characters are, not a lot. Basically, these are people who I would say are very much kind of MAGA influencers. I hate to say for sale, but they are people who are very involved in getting junkets. Xavier went to Qatar recently. They go to Israel. They're kind of like, they have big Instagram platforms, big Twitter platforms. And but in terms of their actual influence, I think it's unclear, but they're like fame balls. They're personalities who are out there. And I will say it's unclear to me whether this is an Amazon Prime show, like an Amazon original, or what I think is more likely that this is being put on demand on Amazon.
What does it mean?
It's like how you could upload a self-published book to Amazon.
Yes, exactly.
Also upload a self-published show to Amazon.com.
And I did a little reporting here.
Maybe it's Amazon.org.
Yeah, tell us your reporting, because it looks to me like the production value is not insignificant, and they're all renting a house. I mean, there's got to be some real money behind this. So where is this coming from?
So, I mean,
Cutter.
My reporting is that I asked Xavier when it's coming out, and he said it's coming out probably in February. And then he had some kind of snippy remarks to me because I had said, the show looked cursed, all this stuff. And he said, yeah, you'll be watching it day one, aren't you? And I said, well, yeah, I mean, of course, that's kind of my thing. But we'll see. There's a lot of characters in here.
Should we watch it?
Coming in February. That's very exciting. We should watch.
Wait, does he mean February in a month or February in a year and a month?
Okay, here are the influencers.
Who are these people?
I don't know that lady.
Well, that's Destiny. That's Xavier.
A literal socialist to run the global center of capitalism.
We're talking about giving the Nobel Peace Prize to a guy who is declaring war on his own cities.
Your job
That's Emily Saves America.
Lady. That's not even
Emily.
your job.
Emily.
You just support your gay husband.
It's Xavier Day.
It's Xavier Week. The only reason you're choosing to go meet up with your friend Amber Rose while we're filming a reality show is because you want her in the show.
I noticed Xavier himself. That's Clarkson, so I meant Clarkson.
Oh, that's your guy.
Robbie.
Now I run your show. Gave her run your diet. Get the out of here.
I miss Charlie. This is America.
Taylor Lorenz.
We're the counter organization to Turning Point USA.
We slapped!
I try to be the gateway drug. Thirst trap them in a little bit. He's a liar, and he lied to everyone.
I do not want to crawl back to being a corporate whore.
I don't want this to get ghetto. It's stressful out here, being black and Republican.
You accidentally said slavery was okay.
I'm actually authentic. People change. You stay this fucking same because you just want to get a check until you hear like.
I'm as real as my hair.
Thank you.
If I were Israel, I wouldn't even provide matching socks to Gaza.
Walk with me.
With all due respect, I'm not going to call a grown man Destiny. His name is Steven.
Get serious though.
Oh no.
Big plastic
Hold on, we gotta
surgery,
stay
big
for
in
the
that
next
world.
Twitter's a mental hospital.
My entire brand.
That's enough. That's enough.
Pedestrian.
You do have to have.
Oh wait, why did we stop? It was so good.
My entire brand just fell apart after I got this plastic surgery. And Xavier puts himself in the trailer quite a bit, I notice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, look, it's an exciting bunch, right? I mean, you've got Destiny, who's obviously this kind of center-left commentator, I think with some, an unsavory background, shall we say. We've got Emily Saves America, who is a Republican commentator.
We've written about
she's
her.
the one who they're saying, you said slavery was okay. And she goes, oh, what are you going to do?
Were any of those people involved in the fingering incident?
I believe Emily was involved in the kind of larger fight around that.
Yeah.
So if people may remember the
her
fight.
from, you wrote about her. Yeah. And then there was that guy who you interviewed who goes to the ICE facilities, but it doesn't seem like he's actually part of the house. What's his name? Robbie?
Robbie, road steamer, yeah.
Yeah. He's not part of this show, is he? He's just an addendum.
We don't know.
Taylor's not part of
there's
the
a
show,
lot of
is she?
mystery surrounding the release of this show. I should say Xavier. I said Xavier went to Qatar. In fact, he was offered a chance to go to Qatar and declined. Because he said he wanted to ask critical questions about Qatar. But that's kind of the world.
Thank you for that. But he was there. He was there in Israel. He was there on that
Yes.
on the Israel junket. It looks like.
Yeah. Hey Tim, were you asked to participate in this show by any chance?
I was not, and I thank you for bringing that up because I would have said yes, obviously, and I don't understand why I wasn't. When they were doing a whiteboard for this, it's like, why not Tim? Okay, everyone else in there seems to be gay except Destiny. So I don't know. Maybe that's So we need a little drama, some cattiness.
Who was the guy who was getting his face reconfigured?
Clarkson. Yeah, I met Clarkson. He was, for the first time, probably 3 or 4 years ago now, at the at America Fest, the TBUSA America Fest, and he was either in the Gays Against Groomers booth, or he was wearing a Gays Against Groomers swag. I don't. It's hard to remember. I have to go back and look at my notes. But there was like a little gaggle of gays with Gays Against Groomers regalia. And I kind of introduced myself, and so I'm trying to understand what's happening here, and had kind of maintained, just checking in with various members of them over the years as things went on, and Clarkson, I believe what he's referencing there, where he's like, you're fake, you're so fake, and blah blah blah, is like he has actually, to his credit, pretty gotten a little soft on Trump. His support has softened, and he's a little more independent minded, and I think it's hurting his personal brand, as he mentioned there at the end of the show. I think that's kind of the problem with the influencers. You rise and fall, based on the audience whims. You can't.
So
tell me what you think.
Not a grower with respect to Trump is what you're saying.
I know nothing about that. I did not. It was nothing but professionalism with the Gays Against Groomers. Who the hell? I mean, you never know. You get involved with the Gay Against Groomer, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, jumping out of the closet is Project Veritas.
Well, I have a good transition here because the other topic we wanted to talk about was this tweet that Gavin Newsom's office put up today. Topically here. So Benny Johnson apparently is going to California as part of a fraud investigation. I guess this is the new thing on the right where you just bring your video crew and you just walk around to daycare centers and ask to be let in and confront them if they're real.
Let me see your 3-year-olds.
Hey, let me in. I have all these cameras here.
I'm a closeted homosexual and I would like to see your 3-year-olds.
So Governor Newsom's press office responds because Benny says our team's traveling to the fraud capital of the world, California, blah, 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 blah. Newsom's press office says we'll make sure Grindr servers are ready. That
really tickled you.
Well, it's just it's so rare to see a Democratic press shop just not give a fuck, and it was interesting the reaction to this one because we've written about this actually at the Bulwark is like there are occasions where Democrats are now just sort of more openly comfortable with what would be described in other times as homophobia. And so there was like questions about whether this was over the line on Twitter. And I'm stealing from Aaron Ryan here, who was like, no, he's not making fun of gays or calling Benny Johnson like, trying to be homophobic about Benny. She's gratefully providing services to help Benny out. Like, this is generosity from Newsom's office.
Well, we love Aaron Ryan. I should note as a woman, I would go to her for questions of whether to judge whether something is misogynist or not. Is she the authority? Does Aaron Gloria Ryan get to decide what's homophobic?
I'm just reading the tweets. Man.
I'm going to allow it. I think it's borderline. I think that how giddy you are about the joke is maybe a little homophobic, Sam. I'm just joking. I think it's fine. Benny John. I think I'm going to allow it. I'm allowing it.
All right. Oh well, since Tim's the fucking referee of gay jokes, that's great to hear.
Let's not get too excited about.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, the background here, right, is that just a few weeks ago, and we did a trio video about this. Milo Yiannopoulos had really been on a rampage about Benny being closeted. Benny he denies it. He threatened to sue Milo. As far as I know, that lawsuit hasn't been filed. I'm sure he would have heard about it. And Benny also
have you checked in yet? Maybe you should check in as a journalist.
That would be important to follow up. Will, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great idea. I'll take care of that. I mean, that would be a great lawsuit.
Put it on the list of stories to pursue. Jesus.
But it's also Benny makes such a big deal about how he's a straight family man. His wife, Nurse Kate, is kind of her nom de plume. She's a very, she's like a fitness mom type. And they put out statements basically that are like, Benny's straight. We're going to sue you if you keep talking about it. So that's where this all lands in for Newsom to pick it up.
Has he? I haven't checked, but has Benny responded to the Newsom tweet?
He is not. He's not. I mean, I think he's focused on finding fraud in Califraudia or whatever he's calling it.
California. Okay.
You mentioned Milo. Can we pivot from Milo and Matt Gaetz versus Dan Bongino? Because that provides some good material.
Why don't you do the pivot? You do the pivot.
Have you seen that yet? So Dan Bongino is out and he's letting loose. He's had all these. He's been jealous of the trio. Let's just be honest. Dan Bongino wants to have a right-wing version of the trio. That's what he wants. Okay, he just wants to be out there, shit talking. That's what he likes to do. He did not like being the deputy director of the FBI. That comes with responsibilities, obligations. You have to tell the truth. It's a lot of things that Bongino's not really keen on. We tell the truth here, but in his version, in the Bizarro trio, they don't have to do the truth. So he's out, and he's just kind of firing at everybody. He's a little. Will maybe can explain this a little bit better than me, but my understanding is that he's upset at some of the MAGA world who had critiques of him, particularly Candace and others who are upset that the FBI was not finding the real killer of Charlie Kirk and not figuring out who stole the 2020 election and all this. So Bongino's mad. He's out there. He's firing off tweets. Milo tweeted this beautiful piece back at him, which we should put up on the screen, where he writes, "There is a place beyond constipation, beyond being merely backed up, beyond post-surgery scrape it out with a spoon after 5 days on Percocet. Welcome to the Bongino Rift." And then it's a picture of Dan Bongino looking very constipated.
Can I just say, Milo is very colorful with his writing.
He is. Matt Gaetz was jumping in on it. Bongino is also colorful. He goes back at Gaetz with this. You've always been a dick, by the way, grifting off your daddy like a suckling little doggy. When I first met you, I knew you were a piece of shit. It's written all over that phony face of yours. He went on and he called him a suckling little doggy a second time as well, and said that he was going to blame everything on the Jews. Well, what am I missing here? It feels like it's getting pretty loose out there with the former deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a classic right-wing infighter. He's been held back, as you said. The famous Bongino vein was popping, and now he's out. And it's sort of like he wasn't really immediately involved in a feud. Clearly, he has a long list of enemies from the past few months, from the Epstein stuff, from people saying, as you said, that he messed up the Charlie Kirk investigation. And now he's just like picking fights left and right. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, he quit, I think, like 2 or 3 days ago. Was that his last day at the FBI? And now he's just like, Matt Gaetz, you sack of shit. You know, it's like, whoa, where's this coming from? So, I mean, he put out a thing saying he has kind of like an infighting manifesto where he said, I'm going after the grifters, the life losers was his term, the con artists, the black pillars. So he's going to make everyone feel good about MAGA again.
Can you define for the audience what a black pillar is?
Sure. So in, the Matrix, you take the red pill to see the world as it really is. But for people who become nihilists, who think it's all over, who think there's no point in even being a Trump supporter, that's when you take the black pill. And so he's saying, don't fall out of society. Trump still has hope for us.
All right. And he thinks Matt Gaetz took the black pill, or is he?
Yeah. I mean, Matt Gaetz is kind of at his One America News show. He's gotten more into like anti-Israel stuff, more into conspiracy theories. He's part of that more like Marjorie Taylor Greene faction now.
Have you been following the story where Matt Gaetz claims that Israel tried to blackmail his father? Have you followed that at all, Will?
Yes, I have. So the angle there is that there were guys, people may remember, there were guys who were, I believe, indicted for basically having some scheme related to the Matt Gaetz the underage sex allegations, that there was this idea that they could like somehow get some money out of Matt Gaetz' father to, I think, raise money to rescue a guy who was held in Venezuela. Sorry, I'm kind of like over my skis here, but basically there was a scheme that was charged.
I was going to say, it's so funny, and it's got to be coincidental, but it always is the Jews. And it's like, you just think Israel's got all these schemes going on. They're leveraging so much. Do they have time to even run a country?
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Well, every once in a while it's the French. It's mostly the Jews. Every once in a while it's the French. So I was just noticing, because I do think that I'm a little worried about Bongino coming back, because I don't want to be displaced in the podcast rankings. And I think there's like the podcast rankings right now are very heavy with kind of anti-Trump Trump critic right wingers, the Tuckers, the Candaces, the more America Firsters types,
right? And
Charlie Kirk's demise kind of has left a void, I think, for that. And so I pulled it up. And while we're just doing this live, if you guys could just look at your Slack, when I was looking at the rankings, I noticed Candace has rebranded. You can put this up on the screen for everybody. It's pretty noteworthy, I think.
That's her actual podcast.
Which one's the old brand?
The new one is the white and black. Here we go. We have it on the screen. And before she was kind of like fresh and flirty, Candace. Where we got the cursive, we get the purple, and now it's very stark, very stark. We're in our mom era. We're doing our own research.
A little bit of a Brigitte Macron look there.
A little bit of a Brigitte Macron. A little severe, Yeah.
All right, good for her. She's doing very well in the rankings. Although, Will, you say things are maybe coming apart at the seams for her?
Yeah, so this is the upcoming false flag, but the short of it is basically Candace, some of her claims about the Charlie Kirk assassination. I think she brought out this witness, this guy named Mitch Snow, who has a very, I would say, unsavory past involving a lot of criminal allegations, a lot of questions about his honesty. He most recently said his dad was the Zodiac killer. And so, even some of Candace's sort of conspiracy theory underlings are saying, I don't know about this one, Candace. His big claim is that he saw Erica Kirk at a military base before the assassination, having a conversation, with some military intelligence guys.
U.S. military or Israel?
Well, the French Foreign Legion. Actually, related to this, I got a haircut today, and my barber said she said, I don't. Well, thank you. She said, I don't like Trump, you know, oh, you work at the Bulwark, whatever. And then she goes, but what do you think about that Candace Owens? I kind of think she's onto something there with her Charlie Kirk stuff. Oh, and so that's sort of a field report for you. And I said, oh yeah,
I'm telling you, this happens all the time. People are telling me that I'm like, this happens all the time. It's a real problem out there. The left wing to Candace pipeline is a real problem. And when I was at Crooked Con, I was saying to Hassan Piker in the back, and I was like, you have to, like, this is your obligation to go after her harder than you go after the neo-libs, okay? Because like your fans are jumping the horseshoe, and it's very common. I hear it a lot anecdotally.
Wasn't the big insight Candace made, or one of the smart things she did, was that she started doing all that commentary on the case involving the like Boston area policeman who was killed, and the wife was, I forget what it was, but like, and it just got her a lot of crossover appeal to normie moms who were super into that case, and then suddenly they were hooked.
Yeah, maybe Candace has gotten into it's a lot of like entertainment stuff, like the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit. She's done a lot of these kind of like hot button true crime cases as well.
Oh, that was the one. It was the Lively Justin Baldoni one where she just got everyone sort of gravitated towards her coverage of that. We got to find something like that for you, Tim. Like, we need a true crime story that you just obsess over.
I'm not really a true crime girly, but maybe we could find something. Like, yeah, it's just not really my cup of tea.
All right, fair enough.
But I agree with you though. It's not a bad idea.
We need some crossover appeal. People who are watching this, if you have ideas for Tim, put them in the comments. We'll
some cultural crossover ideas. Like, for example, our producer Matt asked us to talk about Trisha Paytas. I don't know who that person is, and I don't want to know. Okay, so I'm trying. Like, we need to find something a little more boy coded for me to care about, like culturally boy coded. So hopefully that could work. All
right,
can we talk?
Should we go to? What do you want to do next?
No,
OnlyFans? Can we do that?
I don't know what that is. So I'm interested.
You don't know what OnlyFans are? Okay, great. I'm going to introduce you to the world of OnlyFans.
And I'm aware of what OnlyFans is, but I don't know why it's relevant to our trio.
Well, because what's in the potpourri. Basically, there's a new article out from the Financial Times. I'm not going to read their version of it. I'm going to read the New York Post's aggregated version of their reporting, because their lead sentence is much better than the Financial Times. It goes like this. It's a story about how OnlyFans models and social media influencers are claiming half of these coveted U.S. visas that are meant for artists and movie stars. The lead is this. They came here with nothing but the clothes off their backs.
That's good.
I give that an A. That's maybe an A+. I think that's pretty good. So basically, a bunch of OnlyFans models are getting these visas that like John Lennon got. They're the O1B visas. And I don't know what to make of this. I guess this is the new form of art. But it's apparently a thing where if you like are willing to engage in softcore porn, you can get some citizenship in this country.
Do we have pictures of them? Are they all white with big breasts? Is that the deal?
No,
here?
because
like
first
South
of all, they're not. There's a Mexican. The one in the Post picture in the Post article is a Mexican-born OnlyFans model Yanet Garcia. So interesting, I suppose, from the Trump perspective. And then there's another one, Canadian-born Aisha Sophie, who is part of the Florida Bop House. I had to look.
Oh, yeah.
I've not been aware of the Florida Bop House. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Gen Z slang for like a bop is like Gen Z slang for like a hoe. Sam, if you didn't know. So
I don't. Why are we important? Why? What is the reason? Why are they getting the visas? The OnlyFans models?
Well, they're unique talents. I mean, I do think it's worth noting here that, I mean, like, obviously a big part of the Trump base is like the trad people. You know, when I listen to right-wing podcasts, there's a lot of talk about like they have ad reads for apps that help you quit watching porn, stuff like that. And so I do think there's a little ideological clash here.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say this, I'm trying to formulate an opinion about this on the fly, but as somebody who's pro-immigration, what I hear a lot from the anti-immigrant types on the right is that that it's offensive to say that, we need to import people to do jobs that Americans don't want to do, because if you paid Americans a fair wage, they'd be willing to do these jobs. Americans would pick fruit, if it wasn't for the low wage immigrants that we bring in. And so that is part of the America First thing, right? That there's no need for economic immigrants because us in America here, we have enough homegrown talent. And I reject that across, most examples. There's certainly some examples, but most of the time, really it is valuable to import foreign labor. And in this case, I think I would say I feel like we have a fill of OnlyFans models here, and a potential talent there, potential willingness to participate in that work. It doesn't feel like that we have a shortage of OnlyFans aspiring individuals in our country.
So you're against the issuance of these visas, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I want homegrown American OnlyFans models to be able to maximize their wages. Okay, they don't need them to be competing against OnlyFans models from Mauritania.
They're taking spots in the Bop House that could go to Americans.
Yeah. That's a really good point. We have this glut of affordable housing, and here we are importing people to the Bop House.
While I'm finding my inner immigration restrictionist, I'd like to take us to the other topic, though, to bring up, which is that we have to deport Nicki Minaj. I don't accept anymore. If the Democrats get back in charge, JVL wants to take down the East Wing. I want to deport Nicki Minaj. On day one, she can go home to Trinidad and Tobago and get in line and come back to the country, after, people that have been coming the right way. Because Nicki Minaj said a couple years ago that she was brought here when she was 5. That's a story that's very common that I'm very sympathetic to. But I become less sympathetic to it when you get up on stage with Erica Kirk and start making fun of gays and trans people, start talking about the importance of building the wall, and talk about how great Donald Trump 2.0 is, and how, what do we call the Nicki Minaj fans? Oh man, I'm the gay. I should know this. They are the
Barbs.
Yeah, thank you. She's out there trying to get the Barbs to become MAGA Republicans. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. And I'm sorry, under the new rules that her new love, Donald Trump, has put in place, someone that was brought here when they were 5 from Trinidad and Tobago must go back to that country and get in line. That's where I'm at.
Why is she doing this? What are the theories? I've seen some sort of, conspiracies around her.
Well, her husband does have some legal issues.
So she has trying to get some sort of preemptive pardon.
So she has 2 relatives who, as Tim mentioned, have, I believe, sort of sex-related issues in terms of convictions or charges. But those are both state charges, and so I'm not exactly sure what she's up to here. I mean, perhaps there is some, she just sees it as perhaps advantageous to buddy up with the Trump administration. I mean, I felt like they were really excited to have her at the Turning Point convention. I thought it was a bit of a disaster when she praised J.D. Vance for being a real assassin to Erica Kirk, and then goes, "Oh, geez, oops."
Yeah.
But they're obviously very excited. They see her as like the future of like being a cool Republican.
Is this hurting her with her fans? I have no idea. The Barbs?
The Barbs are, I think, the stupidest of the pop culture, pop music girly fans. So it's unclear to me whether they're gonna have strong feelings about this. I mean, like you have higher tastes, like the Little Monsters, are out there. Like they've got they have a little more refined palate. The Bayhive, they've got a little bit more of a refined palate. The Barbs, not as good. And the Barbs are really going to be mad when Gavin Newsom gets in there and President Newsom kicks Nicki Minaj out of our fucking country. Okay, get out, go back to Trinidad and Tobago, fill out the forms, get in line, and maybe we'll let you back in for a tour. I don't know. Maybe a travel visa, a limited travel visa for a Florida tour. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe she gets one of those, O1B visas. Okay, I think we've covered a lot. That's about my fill of, bullshit.
Okay.
For today.
That's fine.
Love you guys, though. Thank you so much. I appreciate you opening my eyes to the ridicule I'm getting online, Tim.
Anytime. I'm monitoring your mentions. I've got little alerts.
I was like,
I set up this kind of AI thing where, like, anytime the hate at Sam reaches a certain level, Claude sends me a note so I can enjoy it.
I was wondering why you called this meeting of the trio, but now I understand what the reason was. All right. Well, thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it. Everyone, thanks for watching. Subscribe to The Bulwark. where you can get great Bulwark takes like this. Hopefully we can do this soon again with the three of us, I should say. Take care, guys.
There are three of us. It's a trio, and it's Sam Stein, who's the managing editor, and Will Sommer, who has a newsletter called False Flag, that I've needed a little more frequency from lately. I get, Will's allowed some time off, but I could double it. I could do 4 a week.
4 a week.
The latest is headline this: Trump gets the 2020 election loon gang together. So I want to talk about that. I also want to just tease everybody. We will talk about Nancy Mace as well. The 2020 election loon gang is back together. Why don't you just get us up to speed, Will?
Yeah, so, last week the FBI raided the Fulton County, Georgia, the ballot storage facility, essentially. And I think we're starting to see, we don't know a lot about the official motivation of this raid, but I think we're seeing a lot of the kind of the old conspiracy theories come back. And so that's what I dipped into here. Obviously, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, was on the scene, and it sort of seems that she has been tasked with sort of being like the chief election kook. Like, she's going to pull all the disparate strands together and make a report Republicans can use to crack down on the midterms. So I think there's a lot of crazy stuff flying around, and that's what I was looking into.
Will, what of all the crazy 2020 election conspiracies?
Well, I support the one I believe is the claim made by a fellow who's a rogue falconer. Who basically, he was like a globetrotting falconer, kind of mixed up in the smuggling lifestyle, the falcon smuggling. They call it feathered cocaine, for those who don't know. But basically, he claimed he had Al Qaeda contacts because of the falcon trade in the Emirates. And basically, he was like, well, they didn't really kill bin Laden. That was like a fake thing. But also, I found out as kind of part of this that the election was stolen. And Trump was like, wow, this guy is a genius. This guy, I should say, is named Alan Parrott. And I think he's like a white guy who became a Sikh, and so he had like Parrott? A turban. That's right. And so Trump got really into this, and it alienated a lot of his like Navy SEAL guys who claimed to have killed bin Laden. It was a big mess. That's my favorite. But the one in play here, I think the key ones are
Italian satellites.
Yes, Italian satellites.
I thought it was the Venezuela one that was in play here.
There's 2. Okay. So this is Trump's got to figure out who's going to be prosecuted, what the theory is. So on one hand, Sidney Powell, who we remember getting fired from Trump's legal team for being too crazy for them, she's kind of back in the mix. She seems to maybe have known this raid was coming. She was saying on a podcast, there's going to be some big action in a few days. And she is
that was, I thought, the most interesting thing in your newsletter, that she had a tip. She had a hot lead, Sidney Powell, who got kicked out of the
she was too hot
kook brigade for being too kooky. Tucker Carlson, who now believes Hitler was the good guy in World War II and is flirting with flat earthism. He looked at Sidney Powell and he was like, little too out there for me. Okay, a little too out there for my taste. So
go back to the Italian computer.
Trump posted on True Social this idea that the Italian government teamed up with the deep state in China to use satellites to steal the election. And how did they do it? Well, they did it with the help of an evil CIA supercomputer that has kind of gone rogue. It's like its own thing now. It's Skynet, named Hammer and Scorecard. And it's doing, it's pulling the strings all over. And this is something Trump embraced, years ago. And now it's back in action. Hopefully we can bring Hammer and Scorecard to justice.
I have a question here about all this stuff, because it doesn't make sense. I just got to be honest. If Venezuela is trying to...
What doesn't make sense to you?
If Venezuela is trying to influence the vote, Hugo Chavez or Maduro are using Dominion software to influence the vote, and they go first, and then the Italian supercomputers come on board and influence the influenced vote, couldn't it rebound? How do you...
They say flip it once, flip it again.
Are they worried that the Italians undid all the stuff that the Venezuelans did and it got back? And I mean,
I think you're looking at this the wrong way.
Oh, really?
Sam. This isn't a situation where all theories are coming into fruition. It's kind of like an episode of SVU. You want to look under every rock. That there's a criminal here. And so it's like, oh, you think it might be the teacher because he was acting a little weird in class, but it turns out he's just kind of a perv, maybe that's the Venezuelans, and then you go, oh, it's the stepdad the drunk stepdad, it turns out, was him. Maybe that's the Italians. I don't think it could be both. I think it's one of
In
the
that
other.
vein, whatever happened to the Overstock guy who was also part of that gang?
Patrick Byrne.
Is he dead?
So no, he's still on the loose. He actually has been tweeting a lot about how. Well, I mean, he's been tweeting a lot lately about how much he doesn't like Jews. But I was just like, this is kind of a new angle for you, Patrick.
God damn it.
But he's in the Venezuela camp. He thinks Venezuela did it.
Okay.
Really?
I don't know.
That's interesting. That's from Overstock.com. People, be careful on Overstock.com. You never know what you might get some of that feathered cocaine when you're ordering an old couch.
Wait, one last thing.
One last thing. Hold on. One last thing.
RFK Jr.
No, we're not done yet.
RFK Jr. is a falconer. We know this because he talks a lot about it. Has he had any association with this? What were they called? The feather cocaine groups?
The feathered cocaine. That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe he might know all the stuff he knows about how the world really operates, because it kind of seems like these Falcon networks, they have a lot of intel.
Okay.
If you have any concern as a listener who just maybe has a little bit of doubts that maybe 2020 was stolen, I just want to calm you, because Carrie Lake did weigh in as well, as you mentioned in the newsletter, and she wrote, "You are fucked," to the Fulton County Election Commissioner. She's a government official still for the U.S. Agency on Global Media. "You are fucked," she said to the Fulton County. And this is like the reverse Jim Cramer situation. Like, if Carrie Lake says you are fucked, you are actually in the clear. Nothing to worry about. So that's encouraging. And speaking of people that have fallen on hard times, Eagle Ed Martin, seems like he's been demoted. He might be on the way out there. He was pictured with Sidney Powell. I thought maybe he was conceivably on the rise as part of this 2020 election conspiracy stuff, since he's on board with that, but he got kind of demoted to a pardon attorney, I guess, and then maybe fully out. I don't know. What have you heard about that?
I was surprised by that, because he was deputized to be in charge of all the political vendettas, right? And then he'd been doing
Trump had a meeting this week. I believe this is a CNN report. Apologies to who, I forget who I'm shouting it out.
It was CNN.
Credit, but CNN, yeah, they had a meeting this week about the weaponization of government, how they want to weaponize it more, and how they're not weaponizing it enough. And so maybe during that meeting, they thought that Ed hadn't really nailed it.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because he'd been it was his moment. He'd been doing the pardon stuff for a while now. But apparently Todd Blanche really hates the guy and pushed him out. But I don't know anything other than that. But it's odd timing wise, because they're supposed to be ramping up, and then this guy just kind of disappears. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know, because he can be such a moron.
I feel like it's a bad thing in a way, because I think it's a sign that, and this is just speculation on my part, but it seems like maybe they're like, "Hey, Ed, you're making this a little obvious what we're up to, and you're giving too many clues." Like, a lot of people, including me, really keyed in on that picture with Sidney Powell. And as soon as Sidney Powell gets pulled in, you do that the day after the raid, people are like, "Oh, this is insane," right? I mean, I did a whole newsletter about it. And so there needs to be this kind of veneer of respectability. And so, Ed, you need to stop kind of posting pictures with Alex Jones or whatever. So I think that may be what happened
Blanche
here.
Is like, are you tweeting a criminal conspiracy, Ed Martin? You're not supposed to be tweeting a criminal
What was
conspiracy.
the time where he tweeted the first singular letters? I forget this one, and then he had to
pipe bomber.
Oh yeah,
pipe bomber, because he got on board with the Blaze's bogus story about the pipe bomber being a Capitol police officer, and he was like, "Pipe bomb."
And he had to take down the tweets, but he didn't take down every letter. He left the P and the E up. It was so stupid.
The other thing I'd point out here is Todd Blanche is kind of being set up once again as the guy who won't give MAGA the candy, that won't do the arrest, that won't do a DOJ raid on the Colorado jail where Tina Peters is held on election denial charges. So the sort of the Ed Martin set, the people who really want to see Hillary Clinton in prison, they are furious over this, and this idea that once again Todd Blanche has stolen it away from them.
Think they're ever gonna realize that nobody's going to prison?
You see Todd Blanche tonight talking about the Epstein people not going to prison?
Some of these men may have done horrible things, and if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American people need to understand, that it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein.
Yeah, he's like, nothing illegal about going to a party on Pedo Island.
Can't prosecute that.
Sorry for partying.
Ain't no crime party with Jeffrey Epstein. Come on now.
They're still kind of casting her out for the right message there. Okay, let's move on to our girl Nancy Mace. How does that sound?
Yeah.
New York Magazine did a big piece on her, the fake news there. Jake LaHutte, good dude. She tried to preempt it with the selfie video. That's never a good
Do people
sign.
understand how stupid that is as a tactic? You're just drawing attention to yourself. It's the Streisand effect. It's dumb.
Like everything. Jake LaHutte is thrilled. He's like, oh wait, now everybody knows I got a big Nancy Mace article coming tomorrow. So among the things, she's lost her mind. And there's some of this stuff where we're retreading a little bit of old ground. Like everyone that has ever worked for her hates her. One of my favorite quotes in the story was from like her most recent, I forget if it's consultant or chief of staff. And he's like, so I left and have concerns for Nancy and think that she'd be better as a private citizen. And you should take me at my word because I don't hate her like everyone else.
Yeah, that was the best quote.
She's like, I'm not like all these other people, who have Mace derangement syndrome. Okay, I like her. I just think that she probably would do better in a padded room somewhere. Among the anecdotes, my favorite one was something she has in common with Sam Stein. She was forcing staffers to upvote Reddit posts about who the hottest member of Congress was, if it was her. And so staffers had to create fake accounts, go in, upvote it. If it said Nancy Mace, downvote AOC to try to push her up the rankings on the hottest members of Congress. And Sam actually did this as well on a Mediaite survey of hottest managing editors. You're making the staff do that for you.
It was actually The Hill back in the day. Remember the hottest on the Hill? Do you remember that?
I voted in that. Yeah.
You wrote those?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you ever vote for Sam?
No, well, I voted.
You
yeah,
voted
you got to. They put everyone. Well, I voted because they would put everyone's hot picture out, and then you would go around and cast your votes for who was the hottest.
Oh my god, it's so.
Yeah, staffers also. It wasn't just the upvoting. Staffers were told to comment where needed as well. Mean? I don't know. Say, throw a little note in there, like
hubba.
Nice jug, boss. I don't know.
Can you imagine being a staffer? Like you're like kind of idealistic. You're going to work on the Hill. Your chief of staff comes in when they're like, "Yo, I need you to create a burner Reddit account. Just put some comments about how hot the boss is, please." What am I doing here?
She also, this is a quote a former staffer said, when I worked for her, our poor scheduler was getting calls at 2 a.m. to come bring her bottles of tequila.
And?
To keep the party going is how Jake
it's not a crime
like.
to party with Nancy Mace, folks. It's not a crime.
2 a.m?
Nah, this is...
I'll
be serious. Can I be serious about this? I read this.
I like to party.
Yeah. I read this,
but if you need tequila at 2 a.m, you got to procure it yourself.
So I read this and I had a good chuckle with the Reddit stuff for sure, and the tequila stuff was wild. But like, I left feeling like a sense of sorrow for this woman. She obviously needs help. I do feel bad for her. It seems like she was triggered or really affected, obviously, by what happened to her in her personal life that she then brought to the floor, accusations of rape, and. Will and I were talking about it a little bit.
The fact that she's doing dick checks on the House floor, that doesn't temper your sorrow at all?
No, that doesn't. But she was like posting like pictures of herself naked and stuff. It was like there's many layers of psychosis here. And Will and I were talking a little bit before we came on. And I think the conclusion is she just shouldn't be in. I mean, this is not my conclusion. It's her staff's conclusion. She shouldn't be in public life anymore. She should just like try to find something that's more fulfilling and calmer. I do feel bad though. I really do.
I don't know. She looked like she was happy in that one viral video that was going around where there were like 6 people and there were like 6 people and they're like at a house party and they're like doing shots.
Oh yeah,
off
but that was early in her life.
She like, kissed that girl. She kissed the other woman. Like they looked like they were having a good time. Just maybe do that. Go to Sullivan's Island. Go to house parties.
Yeah.
Look, I watched Southern Charm. She could join that crew. They're having fun in South Carolina.
You watch some trash TV, buddy. You watch some. You love the Vanderpump Rules. Yeah. You like all that crap.
That's how I keep my finger on the pulse.
I think she's a little too mean for me to feel sorry for.
That's fair.
I don't feel sorry for her. The thing that I feel sorry about is it seems like her governor's campaign is going down the toilet. And I was sort of thinking the people of South Carolina, they might need Nancy Mace to be their governor for a few years, just to kind of sort of wash things out of their system a little bit. I mean, they've voted for Trump 3 times. They They put in, Henry McMaster. Maybe they should kind of just get one of their own a little bit and see how that goes. And Louisiana, I'm tired of us having the most embarrassing.
Is the current measles outbreak not enough? Is like you want to inflict more on the good state of South Carolina?
I would like to inflict a little bit more. All right. Well, nothing else from you there on Nancy Mace, Will? Anything you're seeing out there? Any buzz?
I mean, she's very active on Twitter. I mean, it is striking this article how she's, and this has been reported before, but that she wanted just like, I need to be on national TV 3 times a week or 3 times a day, and I need to be in local Carolina news constantly as well. And I mean, look, she understands the content grind, but I think perhaps it is not redounded to her benefit here.
Should I invite her on the pod, do we think?
That's a good question.
No.
I'm sure she'd come on in a second.
I don't know what
we'll talk about that offline. Let's pray on it. Feedback. Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Should I invite Nancy Mace on? We'll see. Okay, 2 other things really fast. James Fishback, you've written about him. Long shot candidate, we should just be honest, for the governor of Florida. Byron Donalds, I guess, is the main candidate there. He's done some, you've written about him. He's done some racist jokes about Byron Donalds, made some allusions about how he would be Mussolini-esque. Some pretty serious accusations about him with younger women, relationships with young women, maybe even girls. And he posted this today. I've joined Tinder to meet young female voters where they are and share my plan to make it easier for them to get married, buy a home, raise a family. Young female voters, that has a creepy ring for me.
It's interesting because Fishback is very open about, he has this woman he claims is his girlfriend. They go to all these events together. He kind of is portraying her as like the future first lady of Florida. And this has been enraging Laura Loomer, the right-wing activist, because she hates James Fishback because he is anti-Israel. And so she dug up his girlfriend's background, and it is, a lot of like, I would say risque photo shoots. Some photo shoots, according to Loomer, she was deep into the Bitcoin NFT scene. Some photo shoots with like guys in like eyes wide shut masks and stuff, which given Fishback's kind of like Epstein style allegations, it's getting very complex here. So I don't know if the girlfriend's being pushed out and now it's all about Tinder or what's going on, but his love life has loomed large in this campaign.
Sam, and did you have any thoughts on the James Fishback campaign?
If ever there was an appropriate use for the "let them fight" meme, it's like Loomer Fishback right now. Let him go. Just have at it. I thought he was big with the Groypers, but he's not, or is he?
Well, no. That's his claim to fame. Is he's kind of like the Groyper, Nick Fuente style.
Yeah, Loomer's. Don't mix her up. You have to understand.
I thought the
dynamics.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
Loomer is not a Groyper.
No. I'm saying, doesn't that complicate him with the women? Like, aren't Groypers supposed to be abstinent in some respect, or am I crazy?
Great point, Sam. Nick Fuentes has said that typically, being with women is gay, that he's an incel, but more recently he's started to say he's looking for the cutest Groypette. And so now I think possibly maybe Groypers are going to be allowed to drop their vow of chastity and look for love.
That's really powerful stuff. I'm moved by it.
All right, final topic. We make fun on here. We tease and mock some of the right-wing conspiracy mongering. And I think it's important to do that since it has infected the highest levels of our government. But it's also okay to look at ourselves at times. And I got to tell you, I was reading this post today by Heather C _77, Christian patriot, OG Anon, and great granddaughter of Revolutionary War soldier who crossed the Delaware with George Washington. And they're going through the Epstein files, and they have discovered that one of the people that flagged that there was something weird happening at the prison was Roberto Grijalva, who is who's working there as a correctional officer, and according, I guess, to a subpoena that came through Jeffrey Berman, you could see his identity. He was one of the people that posted this 4chan post. In the 4chan post, he essentially claims that there was a lot of unusual activity around Epstein's cell, and that there was a truck of some kind that came in, and that Epstein got snuck out, and that the person that got killed was Epstein body double of some kind. And I'm reading it and I'm thinking,
don't.
I'm interested. I'd like to learn more. I'd like to learn more. That has 13.1 million views, so I'm not the only one. And is it possible that Epstein's still alive? I guess that's my final question for you guys.
No, I'm not touching that. I'm not going to talk about it.
Here's what I'll say. I mean, I don't think he killed himself. You know, I think he was at least given the opportunity to. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions out there, and so you know, whatever you're putting out there, Tim, I'm cool with.
Guys,
I also think that there's a lot of unanswered questions out there. And can I just throw to you, Victor? Can I throw you this post by Victor? It's at someone you know _. He goes, "This is a crazy find. After some search, I discovered what's probably the second biggest find. The dead body's nose does not match Jeffrey Epstein's nose."
Is that, sorry, Victor, this is the at someone you know, Victor? Well, that changes things.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's unimpeachable. No, guys,
yeah.
I will suggest after we finish this that we edit this out in postscript because this is insane. You guys need to chill out. And there's also stuff in the files from I believe the prison guard saying that he was like talking to Epstein, trying to like tell him not to kill himself because it seemed like he might. So let's tamp it down a little bit.
It cuts both ways. I'm not making any claims. Okay, I don't want to be fact checked by YouTube. All I'm saying is that I've been reading a lot of material about the Epstein situation at the prison. And I just was intrigued by, I mean, you know, she was an OG and on.
Oh, that's not nothing. Well, what were the numbers? Sorry, what were the numbers in her hand? Was it 77?
77.
There's something to that. Now that you mentioned it, yeah, 77.
John Elway. Okay, gentlemen, that's the latest. By popular demand, we'll see y'all soon. Subscribe to the feed.
All right, hey everybody, it's me, Sam Stein, managing editor at the Bulwark.
As we start, I just want to apologize for frame mugging you guys so brutally. I know you guys are doing the best you could, but with this wallpaper and with my P-Watch shirt and kind of my cheekbones, I just feel like I'm really.
You've been bone smashing.
Yeah, I
have you bone smashed? People are going to not know what we're talking about.
Okay.
We're back. We have a new piece to discuss, another Will masterpiece. This one's on Clavicular. If you had an internet connection this weekend or went on Twitter for about 2 seconds, you probably read some nonsense about this man. He's 20 years old. Is that right, Will?
Yes, he's 20. Mm-hmm.
He's 20 and a half, I think.
To be precise. And he does things to his body that no human being should do, all in the name of trying to perfect his look, his chiseled... Okay. What? Will, why don't you go through what Clavicular has done to his body and why he's doing it?
Why should we care about Clavicular first?
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay, all right.
We'll get to that in a second. Okay. This is a man, he's internet famous, and he does fucking weird shit to look good and get girls. But Will, you know this stuff. What is going on here?
Sure. So Clavicular is a guy who's maybe the most prominent face of what's called the Looksmaxxing community, which is in some ways sort of like a division of incels. These are guys who have decided, you know, that women, you know, everything's against them. They kind of hate women. And the only answer to get women and to sort of get ahead in society is to turn themselves into sort of like sexy Squidward types with just these kind of like very handsome, kind of very somewhat bizarre faces. So he has done all kinds of things.
I love a sexy Squidward type. Like people ask me what my type is, and I've never been able to really put a finger on it. But sexy Squidward is pretty close.
Sorry, what is Squidward? I'm
from
lost
from
here.
SpongeBob. There's a point where he kind of like has like a really bulky face. I don't know. I mean, it's maybe it's somewhat obscure reference, but basically, like he will go to any length to get hot and kind of in a very specific way that he sees hot to exist. So he started on anabolic steroids when he was 14, and doing, by the way, like enormous amounts, even by the standards of like a 40-year-old on steroids. Like there are steroid influencers on YouTube who are like, this kid is doing too many steroids. We love steroids, but this is too much. He does a thing called bone smashing, which I mentioned, where, and this, by the way, is quite scientifically dubious. is the idea is you kind of like hit your cheekbones, and this creates microfractures that will make them reform in like a more handsome way. It's not clear to me why it wouldn't be like, oh, now I look like I broke my cheekbone. But he has like a little like hammer, or he'll do like a Theragun, or he'll sometimes he'll just punch himself in the face. And so I guess the other big thing he does is he smokes meth, or at least had recently. He would smoke meth. He would go on. There's one.
The fact that that's number 3 on your list.
There's a video where he's like really ranting. And by the way, like he gets angry. Like he'll get really angry, or sometimes he'll just like throw someone's drink on the ground, or he'll put out an angry video. And it's like,
is that the meth related? Or is that the steroids?
Well, is it a toxic cocktail of the two? And he'll say like, "This is what women make me do. Their standards are so high. I have to go on a 3-day meth binge, to lose weight." So he's not the most stable guy, I guess.
And Tim, you would do that for the game?
I mean, I'm not sure if I'd have to get a birth certificate on age appropriateness for sure. But just like as an objective matter, I think whatever he's doing is working, and I can understand why he's built a big following in the Looksmaxxing community.
Fair enough. So you asked the question, why do we care about this human being? Yeah. And honestly,
is it because you've been munting and mogging, or?
Oh, yeah. Well, should we talk about the terminology here? Because they're so weird. But I want to get to why we care about this man, because this was like the main issue with my edit when I was editing Will's piece. Like, why are we reading about this human being? Like, what point does he serve? And I guess we stumbled upon this idea that this is where the discourse is going. Like right-wing culture venerates, or at least a portion of it venerates this guy. He's got huge followings. He's weighing in on politics. He's got this take on Gavin Newsom versus JD Vance that's pretty spot on. And there is like a cultural relevance to it that I think we can't just ignore. It is weird and uncomfortable, obviously, but like I think he matters.
He was also in the party bus. Will and I did a video on it. Was this a trio video, or was it just being Will?
No, just you and Will.
Yeah, the party bus that included Nick Fuentes and Myron Gaines, which I learned during that video is not his real name because people are admiring his gains. And who else was in that? Was in there?
The Tate brothers.
Yeah,
Sneeko.
So he was there with other prominent kind of right-wing, alt-right type figures. I guess is another
singing Heil Hitler by Kanye.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, and so I don't know. So he's kind of swimming in this universe, and I think what's interesting about Clavicular, besides like all the weird little things, is that he represents this kind of like this fruition of this just like angry young man archetype. He's often saying, "I'm not into politics" or whatever. Like I think that's stupid, but he has this actually like extremely reactionary anti-women agenda, which is sort of like I have to like scheme, and women are just these like lustful snakes, and you have to like do all these little tricks to ever have a chance of finding love. And and he's obviously very opposed to like women like working outside of the home or anything like that. And I think it's almost like this post Fuentes politics where like Nick Fuentes has this kind of like Nazi-ish vibe going on, whereas Clavicular is just like the world is a wasteland. I mean, he says, "I'm a nihilist, I'm a black pillar, I'm trying to freak people out about the state of the world, and like all you can do is this like kind of sinister plot on yourself to make yourself an experiment to survive."
Yeah, the only thing that you control in this world is your own choices, and the choices that he wants people to make is to bone smash and munt and mog. And so that makes sense. I think one other thing about Sam, I'd like to give one other sort of related element why people should care about Clavicular in this moment. And particularly, I think, maybe Democratic strategist types and politicians, or anyone who enjoys the trio's flavor on the Democratic side. And that is, I have not watched I'm not even sure where Clavicular posts. Like, does he stream? Is he on? I'm on Rumble. I literally don't know. Will, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Mm-hmm. Everything that I have consumed, which is a substantial amount. Like I've consumed more clavicular knowledge than I have knowledge of like important matters, like St. Thomas Aquinas, or like famous people throughout history. I know more about clavicular than I know about St. Thomas Aquinas. But I have consumed all this information via, I guess, like these accounts that cut from his live stream and then post them onto various social media feeds and aggregate the best scenes from his live streams. And like, in order to get super famous and to have control of the narrative now, like, that is what you need to do successfully. It's something that I wish I had. Like, why aren't there more people doing highlight reels of me? If you're out there, something to think about. That if you're a Democratic politician, if you're a politician right now in 2026, like, to get into the narrative, like you doing a good job with your own TikToks and tweets, like, is really only so much. Like people are, it is these clip farms where people are seeing this information. AOC has this on her, working for her. Very few politicians do, and Clavicular does. And I think that it's an interesting kind of viewpoint into how to get famous and how to shape the narrative in the year 2026.
Yeah, but I would just add like an element to it. First of all, St. Thomas Aquinas, famous jester maxer. So they have those two things in common.
Thank God you didn't call him a gooner, because that would have been sacrilegious to call St. Thomas Aquinas a jester gooner.
I did not. But the flip side of what you're saying is that this guy, Clavicular, like, yeah, he streams a lot. But like, and this is what was in the piece that Will wrote, was like, it's always up in the ante and doing insane shit. Like, obviously meth is insane and breaking bones in your face is insane. But like, and Will, you can maybe describe what actually happened. So like, he live streamed him running over like a human being in his Cybertruck and like got away with it. And like, it's like it is all sort of, yes, it's all streamed online, but it's also all obviously a play for continued social relevance with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe we should talk briefly about the media environment here. And as you suggested, Tim, a lot of this is going down on like 12-hour live streams where they're out in the world, typically on kick.com, which is like twitch.com, but Twitch wasn't friendly enough to gambling ads, so they made a new one. And so basically he's doing, I mean, he's waving guns around. I mean, he's like, this guy's coming after me, I'm going to wave a gun at him. As you said, I mean, there was an incident late last year where this guy was like stalking him. It was just sort of like in a mall. And then the guy jumped on the hood of Clavicular's Cybertruck, and Clavicular ran him over and said, along the lines of like, I hope that guy died. And then he was never charged for it. So maybe it was all fake. But I mean, it's these kind of things that then, these 12-hour streams, I will say, having watched even maybe a total of an hour of one of them, I mean, they're really boring for the most part. But you have these clippers who come in and they get that like 30 seconds of like, Clavicular ran a guy over. And then that's how it blows up.
Let's talk about some of the words that are used here, which are fucking impossible to understand.
Really?
And yeah, they are. I don't think I've ever heard of. Okay, well, I didn't have it. Maybe prior to this weekend, I did not. What is jester gooning?
Okay. Can I field this one? Okay,
sure.
So jester, I'm not sure that there's a ton of jester gooning happening. Will can maybe correctly. Jester maxing came out of potentially as recently as the night. I know. It's important to understand what jester maxing is if you want to understand jester gooning. Clavicular, when he was at the club, there's videos of him at the club, and there was a kind of sense, I think, through the aughts where a guy at the club, to attract a woman, you go to you get a booth, you get a couple bottles, maybe a couple bottles of Grey Goose. You'd seem very cool, what we'd call now mogging. You'd like look good and you'd be chill, and the women would come to you, right? Because if you're an alpha dude, you're not going to go beg for it. Clavicular tried a different strategy, which was acting an ass. And it doesn't sound cool to say you're acting an ass on the dance floor. And so they called it jester maxing. He's being a jester. He's being silly. He was jester maxing. And then jester gooning would be a spurn off of that. Gooning would be kind of extensive masturbation, like a very lengthy masturbation. And so then I believe jester gooning would be masturbating while like making silly faces. I'm taking that one via context clues, though. So Will, please correct me if you don't think that's right.
That's right, Tim. I mean, basically, Clavicular Clavicular
nailed it, Tim.
Typically, clavicular hates jesters because you have to keep in mind, and then this language, it's been compared to like a Clockwork Orange or something. It's very this kind of weird like side English, but basically because on one hand you have clavicular who argues that the most important thing in the world is how you look, even over money, over status, the other things that these kind of like these would-be playboys really seek. And on the other, some people might say, well, I jester max, I win over women with my charm and my personality and my jokes. And then clavicular disagrees with that. But even, sometimes he'll gesture it up a bit, but a lot of times on stream, he'll get mad and someone will be like, hey, clavicular, like, hey, I love your stream. And he's just like, there's so many damn jesters around here.
All right.
So it's very easy.
Hold on. I do have to interrupt really quick. I'm sorry, because Will Sommer is using some really out of date terminology. When clavicular is getting mad on stream, the appropriate term is to say that his cortisol is spiking.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Because and I think you do hear a lot of people talking about how sometimes clavicular's cortisol will spike, or more impressively, there'll be some jester maxers trying to get his cortisol to spike, and they will fail. And that is something that you want to aspire to. You want to keep your cortisol.
You want to keep your cortisol level pretty level. All right, we've mentioned it before, but what is mogging?
Yeah, mogging, I think, is kind of the most important word in the clavicular universe, and sort of, I think, increasingly in the kind of like Gen Z internet. So mogging is a shortening of an earlier Looksmaxxing word, an acronym for alpha male of the group. So the big dog among the men at a nightclub, for example, or in a friend group. And then they shorten that to mog. And so if you just look cooler than a guy, or you're keeping, you're just making another guy look like a wimp, that would be you're mogging him.
Yeah. Can we pull up on the screen here clavicular getting brutally frame mogged by the ASU frat leader? Because that's what was going around this weekend. It's not really, no, clavicular is my guy, not the ASU. I am not into the ASU frat leader who frame mogged brutally clavicular, but he did so.
And just to be clear, he got fame mogged because the ASU guy was just more jacked than he was.
Well, but he also had like quite a frame, right? I mean, he kind of looked like this.
And I saw that as also he dominated the frame. So if clavicular is being followed by a streamer around, like most of the time he's dealing with kind of jesters and other, riff-raff. I don't know what word they use for riff-raff, months. Or Floyd's, and so usually in the frame, clavicular is kind of the key person. But then he went to meet the ASU frat leader, and he kind of receded into the side of the frame because he got frame mogged so hardcore. I was asking a lot of parents about this out at the Crew of Ferret parade this weekend on Saturday, and a lot of people had thoughts about how brutally he got frame mogged.
It's interesting. You mentioned foids. What are foids? Well,
foids are short for femoids. That's what these Looksmaxxers call women. And if that seems a little unpleasant, it is. And again, you can kind of see the overlap there with incels. But they'll say, like, there will be a video of like a groiper walking around with his girlfriend and saying, like, this is my foid.
Hey, well, this leads us to a key question that I haven't really got the answer to. And this was something going around this weekend. There's a viral post about clavicular at the club and how he was jester gooning, and a group of foids came up to him. And the person posed this query, and I struggled with it. The query was this. Is ignoring the foids while munting and mogging moids more useful than SMV Chad fishing in the club? So again, I just want to repeat that for folks. Is ignoring the foids while munting and mogging moids more useful than SMV Chad fishing in the club? And that was kind of a brain teaser for me.
Was that an earnest? Do you think that was an earnest tweet, or was that someone trying to make light of the situation?
I don't know, but it has 23 million views, which is significantly more than this video is going to have. So
I want to set the scene for the club, because that obviously everything took off with that tweet and people being like, what is this language? What the funny is, I didn't realize, because I didn't watch as much as Will did apparently of the stream, but the weirdest part was why he was in a bad mood. because this was the big problem for Clavicular. He looked very sad. And I can't even read it because it's so stupid. But he was not in a bad mood because he was ignoring the foids or the moids. It's because according to his piece, a woman had come, the waitress had come to deliver his food, and she brought him tomahawk steaks. And there's pyrotechnics, and what he really wanted was his chicken tenders.
The tendies.
It's crazy. I mean, this guy, he's living the like influencer dream that this restaurant, I think, is giving him free food, him and his entourage, and they're like, all right, now we're gonna light the cocktails on fire and all this stuff. And you can see like the bodyguard, all the other kind of like lesser Looksmaxxers are like, this is amazing. And Clavicular's like, oh my God. And he's with this young woman who's just, what's wrong, Clavicular? And he's like, I need my chicken tenders. And finally they come and he really kind of visibly relaxes.
Seems like his cortisol spiked over the tendies. Sam, I should mention we're 19 minutes in at this point, and feels like you haven't done a great job you've buried the lead a little bit because Clavicular did get jailed.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was the issue. So the news here is that he was using a fake ID. He also had some drugs on him that were not legal. And he was arrested. He's out. I think that's good for him, but he can't leave the state of Arizona right now. I believe he's supposed to go on some podcasts, and he's not going to be able to do it.
It's hard to do Chad fishing outside if you're stuck in Arizona.
The pills that he was carrying were Adderall and an anabolic steroid pill. So what does one do if you're like a committed steroid and meth user and you get caught and you're in jail? It's got to be tough.
Well, this is one of the great problems. And also, if I'm understanding right, Clavicular does not produce testosterone on his own due to his years of steroid abuse. And so, in the past when he's been busted, whether his college took his steroids or his parents did, it's become a big medical issue for him. But overall, I mean, I think he kind of hit a roadblock here in his quest for viral fame. And he claims, this is political persecution, what have you. I think one issue he may face in his trial is his numerous videos and blog posts talking about his love of abusing illegal drugs constantly. So I think that may come up at trial.
But what if he frame mogs the judge and I'm assuming that he cell mogged a couple of the other criminals when he was in jail. So I don't know. Will, I had a question for you. I saw a post. It's hard to know what's real in this world. Like, for example, can I just throw this out there? I got caught on a viral thread about the TPUSA halftime show, and I believed them when they said that Frasier did a rendition of tossed salad and scrambled eggs at the TPUSA halftime show. Turned out that was not true. I passed that along as it was as fact to people. So I apologize for that misinformation that I accidentally passed along. So I don't want to do this again. I saw a post that indicated that Peter Thiel bailed out Clavicular. Do we know anything about whether that is true?
That is not true. So Clavicular was released. I don't want to do that again. Was released on his own recognizance. So number one, I don't think he did, but there is no bail to pay. But what I would note is that in the past, Clavicular he like answered the phone and he said, "It's Peter Thiel. He's inviting me to a raucous party." But I think I kind of have to assume that was a stunt he pulled to get attention.
Probably. Got it. But speaking of stunts that he pulled that successfully got attention. Sam mentioned this earlier, but I do just think it's really important to say that I like to be fully candid with the audience. I have my biases. There's certain politicians I like better than others. One thing about Clavicular that appealed to me was when he first came into my field of vision for the first time, he was doing an interview with Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire, who is like one of the easiest people in America to frame mog. And Knowles was asking Clavicular about a hypothetical Newsom versus J.D. Vance matchup. And Clavicular talked about how Newsom, is a giga Chad, and J.D. Vance has a recessed side profile and is obese and a subhuman. And despite the fact that I do think we have a lot of disagreements about his black pilling and his nihilism, and I wouldn't have gone to the club with Nick Fuentes, I do think he had a pretty good read on JD Vance and his side profile, and I think it's possible that I'm maybe a little bit more forgiving towards Clavicular for his different behaviors, just based upon that introduction, which really drew me to him quite a bit, I do have to say.
Just one stray at JD Vance was all it took to win you over.
That's all it takes to win me over.
Well, I'm going to end this by reading a little bit of the social media commentary about Will's piece that went up tonight. We're recording this at Monday night around like 9:30. This guy, Andrew, writes, quote, "It's generally upsetting that I'm aware of this person's existence, thanks to a shocking degree to the Bulwark. But it's also so dumb and unhinged, it's hard not to get sucked in." Okay, that's one tweet. Hold on. Here's another guy, Walking Ryan. "What the absolute fuck did I just read?" That's a pretty good one. Thank you. And the last one from Bob Sampson is, "I know it's my own fault, but there are so many things I'd rather know nothing about that I even understand this is a little depressing." So, yeah.
I got to tell to all the people that are upset that we've introduced you to this. I hear you. Okay,
they're happy
but
upset. They're happy upset.
Yeah,
they don't.
I hear
they
that.
enjoy it.
Look, there are elements of this I wish I didn't know. I am happy to hear about JD Vance's recessed side profile, but I think the good news is this weekend. You know, I don't know if wherever you live they have Carnival, they have Mardi Gras, but if you go out to a party, you go, you know, you're hanging out, and someone asks you about the brutal frame mugging of the ASU frat leader, like, you're going to have a take, you know, and that's good. So that's kind of a little social capital that we're providing you.
Yeah, no, Will's not doing this for shits and giggles. He's doing this to help people out.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, if I could just get serious for just a second. I mean, people say, like, what's the point of knowing about this guy, whatever. And besides his social media profile, I mean, I do think if this guy is being presented as a model of kind of like what it is to be a young man and the ideal of masculinity in 2026, I think it's worth looking at what is his life really like. And so you read, oh, well, this guy has to take enormous amounts of an anti-seizure drug just to feel comfortable at his college move-in day. I mean, and it, you know, it looks just a lot weirder when you get into it. And so that's what I hope we provided here.
Yeah, and I do think that's good. You know, people, you should find, if you're a young man watching this, you know, find your self-esteem from the inside, you know, from what you're providing to the world. You know, you don't need antipsychotics in order to, you know, get through the day. All right.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you don't need an antipsychotic to deal with an annoying waitress, right? I mean, you're handsome the way you are, you know, without the bone smashing. And, you know, I think that's important, an important counter message that we're providing. So thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. I'm going to go smash my face and take a little meth and call it a night.
We've got two topics to get to today. One is the latest investigation from Nick Shirley and his imitators in the investigative space, investigative journalism space in the MAGA media. And then, obviously, we have the first installment of Bride of Charlie by Candace Owens, something I've been just waiting to watch. But we're doing it cold. The producer has pulled together clips, and I want to watch. I want
yes,
us all.
You're doing.
Will,
you're
I'm guessing
doing
you've already
cold.
seen it.
Yes, I've watched it.
Will's professional. Me and Sam are coming in cold. I wanted to watch it so badly last night, but for the content, I decided we'll do it fresh. So we'll get to that next. But really quick, Nick Shirley, I want to put this. We'll just show a little clip here. This is a guy named Tyler Oliveira. Do you know anything about him, Will? Tyler Oliveira?
Yeah, Tyler Oliveira, as you said, he's kind of a Nick Shirley type. He goes around to communities, often immigrant or kind of marginalized communities. He rose to fame, such as it was in 2024. He was a big Haitians are eating the dogs guy.
Got it. Okay, well, Mr. Haitians are eating the dogs man has gone to New Jersey, and he's discovered something in New Jersey that is very alarming. And Nick Shirley replied to him when he posted on this that he concurs it's alarming. All caps, Nick Shirley writes, expose it all. What is Tyler going to expose? Let's watch.
Turning a once quiet town into a densely populated, over-trafficked Jewish enclave prioritizing Jews over non-Jews.
There are Jews in New Jersey, Sam. There are Jews in New Jersey.
Oh, boy. Wait. Hold on, Jews in the tri-state area? Oh no.
I went
who could have known that?
I'd like to call Tyler and let him know. I went to George Washington University, otherwise known as New Jersey U. Okay, we're the unofficial state school for rich New Jersey kids, and they were all Jews. I was the only Gentile at the school, basically.
Congrats.
So I'm just saying, I think that this is it's not an investigation. I guess is my point. Like I think that like the idea.
What are they exposing exactly? That the Jews
the
are
Hasids. He's
fraud?
focused on the Hasidics.
Okay,
they've got a community. It's just a 73-minute. I have not watched all 73 minutes. I don't know if Will has. It's a 73-minute long documentary on the Jewish invasion of New Jersey. Can you be invaded if you're already there?
No, but also, do they not know the Hasids are the Trump supporters here?
Well, this has come up, Sam. This has come up because basically the reaction to this has been, this is very similar to the Nick Shirley playbook. We're going to go to this community and we're going to find out some of them are on public assistance, folks. But in this case, Republicans are like, wait a minute. This is kind of a group.
These are our people.
These are
these are our people.
Hasidic Jews. And so we've seen some, particularly, I mean, obviously among Jewish conservatives, but others as well are like, oh, yikes, I don't know about this one. We might, I think the great insight Jewish people had after World War II in America was that any kind of like bigoted movement will ultimately end up going after Jews as well. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We had that insight prior to World War II.
Even better.
usually ends up with us being targeted. I'm not surprised. I will just say this. This is the guy, Nick Shirley, who J.D. Vance said probably deserves a Pulitzer for his work. This is also the guy who broke open the big story the other week about a UPS store housing all these voters. He forgot to pan up to see the apartments.
But there were apartments above the
UPS store. Yeah. So I'm not sure they should have put all their eggs in this guy's basket. He seems a little bit off on his.
Well, because we've seen Nick Shirley has sort of endorsed this series. He didn't make this video, but he's saying, expose them all.
I got to tell you, Sam. Yeah. I think that your people, the chosen people, should be a little worried about what's happening on the right. Now, there were a lot of right-wing Jews during the 2024 campaign. I got into an argument with one of them on MS Now, then MSNBC, talking about how that they felt like they couldn't support Kamala Harris because the anti-Semitic protesters on the campus, with their River to the Sea flags. Sure. And I was like, okay, but you do realize that like the anti-Semites are like inside the leadership of the Republican Party. they're inside the house. It's like the people that were on the streets protesting Israel, whatever you think about their choices and their rhetoric, they were protesting Joe Biden. And it's like, these are like J.D. Vance's favorite people. And they're going into communities going, there are Jews here.
It's not even that. It's like Donald Trump every now and then will just be like, all these Jews around me in this room, you're good for your money. Love your money. And it's like, man, that trope's pretty old. Try a new one. It's very evident, and it's going to bleed. We're going to talk about it in the Candace stuff. I mean, that is the absolute. That's not the subtext. That's the text where she's basically like, yeah, Israel did this.
It is indeed. Speaking of right-wing anti-Semitism, now we go to Bride of Charlie. We made you wait a couple minutes just to wait for the good stuff. Well, I guess before we go to the clips, since you've now watched it, did it meet expectations? Did it exceed? Any top level insights for us?
Yeah, so I get into this in the latest False Flag, but essentially, on one hand, I think logically,
False Flag is a newsletter you can get at thebulwark.com, by the way, if you're new.
Good
Check
plug.
it out.
Yeah.
So on one hand, logically, I think it's kind of a flop. I think Candace has some new stuff, but stuff that you look at it and you go, okay, but how does that prove she's an assassin or that she was involved in murdering her husband? I guess it's a bit weird, as we'll see. On the other hand, I think Candace succeeded in creating like a hype event that I think a lot of people have reacted to. I mean, it's gotten millions of views. We're recording this less than 24 hours after it dropped. And I think, Turning Point and Erica are really on the back foot here.
Well, let's go to it.
Okay.
I've been given just kind of a summary of each of these clips so that I can call for it. And the idea was that there were like a lot of them, and then I was supposed to choose which ones seemed the best. And it's like choosing between one's children. I got my favorite Nuggets player. Like I can't. Like they all seem amazing. So we're gonna get through as many as we can. We'll start with the one we've got titled "Grieving Widow." I believe this is we're going chronologically here through the documentary.
That sentence, in my opinion, is this year's "Trust the Science." She's a grieving widow. The mainstream media, of course, Zionists implied, are effectively telling you to roll up your sleeves and get the vaccine again, dopes. Tyler Robinson did it. Erica Kirk is grieving. Please allow her to do so in the privacy of the billion-dollar charity that she took over.
Okay, so
nice lady.
So the idea here is that Erica Kirk is like the vaccine, and
you know what?
And the vaccine didn't work, and she's also like the Jews. What's the setup here?
If you say that Erica Kirk didn't murder her husband, you're just like Fauci saying, don't worry about the masks or put on your mask. I mean, essentially, you can kind of see a logic to it in that.
Can you?
She's saying, remember how people told us not to ask questions about the vaccine or whatever? Well, that's like when people say, I can't believe that you would question, Erica Kirk's, whether she was at a military base the day before the assassination.
And what does this have to do with Zionism? Well, she just kind of tossed out Zionism there in the middle. But
yeah, she's really started to lump all of her critics in as like the Zionists, suggesting that this is all kind of like the Israeli state was involved.
She said, in this case, she was saying mainstream media, Zionist implied, Jews controlling the media. Again, got to get new tropes. But secondarily, this is just like, this is the Tucker Carlson school of, provocateurness, right? It's like, we're just asking questions, folks. What's so wrong about asking questions? If you don't want to ask questions, your mind is controlled by the Jews.
All right. So I just want to say, because we've done this a few times, it's not my cup of tea, actually, to mock somebody whose husband got killed. But you can do that. Like the grieving widow thing, like you can do that if you want to in a free country. You want to like make fun of her suit pants. I'm down with that. I did some chuckling. I've listened to some people make some good jokes that made me chuckle. But it is a big jump from saying you can't make fun of a grieving widow to saying the grieving widow actually killed the husband, not the person that all the evidence who's confessed to the murder did. Okay, so there's a big space between that. We're going to go through her evidence though, because we want to be fair. Okay, fair, balanced. We're truth seekers.
Yeah.
And so we want to see what she presents. She's seen a couple of suspicious things about Erica and her family tree. There's a big focus on the family tree here. They are, what is the word what she comes from a long line of what, Will? Do you know? Do you remember?
Of Swedish Masons, I believe.
Swedish Freemasons. Yeah, okay. So she comes from a long line of Swedish Freemasons. So we go through the whole family tree, but we're going to start at the present day with Erica Kirk, and there's something fishy about the birth certificate.
Point is, we learned from this newspaper clipping that Erica was born on November 20th, and she maintains that birthday today. But oddly, that would be news to her parents. Kent and Lori, for whatever reason, think that Erica was born 2 days later on November 22nd. We know this because of their divorce filings, which took place in 1998.
Well, I'm convinced she killed Charlie. That's it.
So there's a discrepancy between the birth date on the birth certificate and the divorce filings.
Yes.
We might need to send someone to Hawaii to find
Got to get the long form. Got to get the long form birth certificate.
This is also very similar to the technique she used to argue that Brigitte Macron was trans, where she kind of throws out these like weird discrepancies for like 40-year-old newspaper articles. And you go, well, I 30-year-old perhaps. And you go like, well, okay, but what would be, she never says what the implication is. And that's when they're covering up the 3 days infant Erica spent at Mossad training camp or whatever. I mean, what is the,
what happened between November 20th and November 22nd, 1988? Okay, that is what we need to find out.
That's when the Jews implant the brain chip that programs you to kill your husband. Yeah.
All right, well, that's just one item, though, guys. Don't get too, don't start mocking Candace yet. All right, like this, she's building a case. It isn't just about the birth certificate. It goes back also to her parents' marriage certificate. Let's take a look at that.
I should also add that I could not find a single trace of their alleged marriage in Marblehead, Massachusetts. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but I couldn't find it across any date. And Marblehead, I would like to know, is certainly an interesting town to pick because it's the recognized birthplace of the Marine Corps. We're going to keep hearing the Marines coming up throughout this entire story. We're just laying the groundwork here.
We're just laying the groundwork.
Hooah.
So Erica Kirk's parents allegedly got married in Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Marblehead, I believe. You can tell how closely she's scrutinizing this that she keeps saying a different name. Yeah.
What's the actual name, Will?
I think Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Marblehead. They got married there, allegedly. No evidence of that. I don't know anything about the Kirk parents' marriage. I should just say, speaking for oneself, I got married in New Orleans at the Marigny Opera House, but like I actually got the certificate in Oakland at the courthouse.
Oh, wait,
there could be many situations.
Hold on. Are you saying you killed Charlie.
I'm not saying that. My point is I'm saying there are a lot of potential explanations why the location of your there might not be documented. But who knows? Maybe there's something there. What do you think about the Marine Corps tease there, Sam? Where do you think that's headed?
My guess, and again, I'm coming in really cold here, is there's some it's a double layered Manchurian child thing where it's like the Marines kind of, I don't know, got to Erica Kirk's parents to program Erica Kirk 30 years ago to kill Charlie. Is that where we're heading? I don't know.
I will say she never quite makes it explicit in this episode, so it's hard to know. But she does this a lot where she's like, that's interesting. This guy who works for Turning Point, his uncle was in the military. And it's like a conservative with military ties? That's insane to me. But she actually goes...
In this case, they don't even have military ties. Their parents just got married in a place that happens to have a connection to the Marine Corps. We live in America. Every city has a connection to some military thing.
You can't deny it's conspicuous, right? I mean, there's something odd about this, right?
She says Erica was born at a hospital that 100 years ago started as a military hospital in the Civil War, but then it became a civilian hospital. Just like the military is always giving away hospitals, that doesn't seem likely, does it? And it's like, you mean like an old hospital was just turned into a civilian? That doesn't seem that crazy, but the idea is that the hidden hand of the military is at play.
So what we've got here so far is a 2-day discrepancy on the birth certificate. The parent cannot find a marriage certificate for the parents, but the place where the marriage was supposed to take place was also the birthplace of the Marine Corps, also born in a hospital that was once a military hospital. Let's go back a little further into the timeline, and we're going to skip right over the grandparents. They might not have been involved in the plot at all. We're going to go to the great-grandparents.
Yes.
The great-grandmother.
So let's bring in the OG Loretta Abbas, Erica's great-grandmother who died in 1990, who was just constantly being arrested for running illegal slot machines. Okay, she came over from Syria and she got to work bringing filth and fraud in Pennsylvania. You check out this article from 1941 where she testifies that she ran numbers. It says Loretta Abbas of Washington, Thomas Roberts, whatever, testified that they engaged in the numbers business and had been arrested on numerous occasions.
The great-grandmother was running illegal slots in Pennsylvania. It's just another little dart on the board. Okay, we don't have the yarn up yet, but we just want to put that up on the board for everybody in case there's a question. The great-grandmother Loretta Abbas. I'm surprised she didn't. I mean, there have been some terrorist leaders with the last name Abbas. Does that come up?
Well, it's interesting. She makes a lot of Erica's sort of like Lebanese, or she doesn't make much of her Lebanese heritage. She talks a lot about the Swedish aspect, but it's sort of a weird thing. I will say, supposedly the great grandfather was also a big numbers guy. He was chased by the police and all his numbers tickets flew away. But as you might say, you might wonder, what is the point of any of this, right? She says gambling will play a big role in this story. So we've got the Marines. Are the Marines hitting the slots? Where's it headed?
I just would note that, again, if I was in Candace's shoes, I'd be like, whoa, I found out that her great-grandmother named up Abbas. Maybe Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, is involved here. Mm-hmm. But the Palestinian Authority can't be involved because it's the Jews. Right? Erica has to be on the side of the Jews, so she can't also be on the side of the Palestinians. So we're going to...
Unless the plot goes way deeper than you and I can possibly conceive.
It's something to consider, Sam. Let's move forward to, I guess there's one more item about her Middle Eastern heritage that we should discuss here. Let's talk about that.
Erica herself is therefore Syrian Lebanese on her mother's side and Swedish on her father's side.
Ooh.
So something which struck me as immediately odd about Erica is just how deeply she identifies as Swedish, despite her public insistence that she was raised by a quote-unquote single mother. Think about that just from a social perspective. If Erica was indeed raised by a single mother, wouldn't you expect her to identify more deeply with those Lebanese Syrian roots?
Anything for you?
I'm thinking about it from a social perspective, and I'm lost.
Well, one thing I'm learning is I didn't know me and Erica had this in common as a fellow person with Syrian Lebanese ancestry, and so maybe that's why some of the commenters are mad that I've not been meaner to Erica Kirk. maybe I subconsciously knew she was one of my people. I will say, as someone, again, I'm always trying to bring this down to the personal. So, is that weird? Is that strange? I'm not sure. to be honest. Like I have a grandparent that has Irish genealogy, and I don't like Irish bars. I mention from time to time that I'm Syrian Lebanese, but I don't really identify with the Irish part of my ancestry because I think that St. Patrick's Day is heterosexual gay pride. And I don't enjoy going to an Irish bar, and I don't like cabbage. Is that suspicious?
I do. This is the second time on this podcast that you've implicated yourself in Charlie Kirk's murder. First is that you did not have your proper marriage place of record, and now you have Syrian Lebanese heritage.
Sam, do you identify equally with all? Are you just Jewish, or do you have anything else in the ancestry?
Tim,
is there anything
Tim, I'm already guilty of the murder because I am Jewish. And
Okay.
so you don't
What about
know
Will? Do you equally identify with all elements of your genealogy?
No, I don't. I feel more, more the Scandinavian side than the German side. I guess it's all the same, right? But
okay,
let's keep going.
We've got a little bit more on the mother. All
Wait,
right.
can I just pause for a second?
Yeah.
Is this really it? Like, I haven't seen. Is this really it?
No, honestly, Sam, it is. It is. That's what's so crazy. Like, we're going to get a little more. Like, there's a couple angles. And actually, this is a good point. Can I say, I had an insight with some of our Bulwark colleagues. You might be watching this and you're like, wait, where is this all headed? Like, what is this? This, I believe, is structured this way to be clipped for things like TikTok, for short form video. Because if you just clip it as like 1 minute, like what's up with the discrepancy in the divorce filings versus the birth certificate, and you throw that out, people might go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But then when you watch the whole video, you're like, why is it all over the place like this? And it doesn't add up to anything. I think that explains it.
TikTok clipping, yeah. I'll also say this. I think that Candace knows that Candace is savvy about one thing, which is audience development. And so I want to offer a cautionary tale to potentially some of our listeners. She knows that a lot of people hate Erica Kirk. She does. And there are a lot of people that hate Erica Kirk, and some of them are far right MAGAs. Some of them are, part of that internal feud between Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson. Some of them just are lefties. Some of them are just regular people that aren't really ideological. They just, for whatever reason, Erica Kirk she doesn't have a very appealing affect, I think we can just say. And so I think that a lot of this is just like, if I put up a lot of clips like trashing her, then people are going to engage with that because she's an easy target. I think that there's a lot of that happening. Okay, but here we go. There's more. I don't want to understate it to just that, because she is also not just gaining audience. She is trying to prove a true crime case that Erica Kirk assassinated her husband. Her mother might be part of that. Let's hear more about Erica's mother, Carla.
Jack Solomon eventually marries Carla Ronsvay in 2002. And there are also some other really interesting facts about Jack.
This is interesting.
And Erica's mommy aunt, I don't know, Carla, live in Utah. He graduated from what is today known as Utah Valley University. He's very involved in the university. It was formerly known as Utah Valley State College when he graduated from there. He also created on their campus the Center for Jewish Studies. I mean, at the very least, you'd think with all of the money that he poured into that university, he might be able to call someone to get us more footage of Tyler Robinson.
Are you compelled yet, Samuel? Her father created the Jewish Studies Center at the university. You have to admit that is eyebrow raising.
My eyebrows are raised.
Anytime anyone has a connection with Jews, Candace will mention it, and she'll kind of just say, she's like, by the way, that person, a lot of Jewish people there. Makes you wonder.
You don't find it interesting that her aunt, that she has relatives that went to the university where Charlie was killed? You don't find
Honestly,
that interesting?
I don't. But
they might have a map. They might have the map of the tunnels. Do you think? You would think he has the map of the tunnels?
You would think. Yeah, all that money he gave to the university. Couldn't he pull some strings? I mean, it's getting close to being like, Erica was spotted eating a bagel with lox that morning. Like, doesn't that raise questions about Jews? I mean, that's like where we're at, basically.
Just to clarify here, because it is a little confusing.
It's not her father.
Carla is the aunt, and so there's a lot of like, I think she's raising. She's basically suggesting that Erica is Jewish. Is sort of where this is headed.
Okay, so Jack isn't the father; it's the uncle. It's the aunt's husband?
Yes, I think that's right. It's the uncle.
I apologize. We regret the air. Facts are
well, no, it's not your fault because she called her a mommy aunt.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Erica's mommy aunt's husband, which on our planet we call uncle.
Uncle.
But that uncle seems a little
Uncle Jewish studies over here.
Yeah, the Jewish in-law uncle doesn't seem quite as ominous as husband of mommy aunt, who created the center there, and he doesn't have any ends anymore. I don't know. It's a coincidence. You have to note it. It is a coincidence. You would think that Erica would have a pretty good sense of the lay of the land there at the university if she wanted to plot out some kind of scheme. This is just going to be a compilation of other times that she mentioned your people, Samuel. Let's listen.
Great. Speaking about psychology, a social science that was created, to be very clear, by German mystical Jews, right? They believed in mystical Judaism. They were practicing the occult. Jack Solomon was also a professor at BYU in political science. He's the former director of the university's Jerusalem Center. He also served on the Center for Jewish Studies on the board at UVU. Zion's Gate, like I said, is his dedication. By the way, Tesseract, the school itself, is exceedingly Jewish in terms of the administration. It was run by Jewish executive directors. The teachers are all Jewish. Why are the Jewish people naming their schools Looking Glass? I'm just wondering.
I'm just wondering.
I mean, I've been very cheeky about all this stuff, so let me not be cheeky for a second. Fuck you. Like, fuck you, honestly. It's so obnoxious. It's anti-Semitic. It's awful. I mean, she's doing irreparable harm. She's causing real endangerment of Jewish people across the country. Fuck you. Okay?
Yeah, the Jews don't have anything to do with this one. Actually, Tyler Robinson, not a Jew. Had the roommates that he had feelings for, who had... the craziest part about all this is that it fits right into her anti-trans playbook. She could just
go with the
Tyler
trans.
Robinson wasn't trans, and I'm not encouraging demagoguery against trans, but there's an open and shut. He has a motive that's related to something that she talks about all the time, which is the fact they were mad about Charlie's attacks on people that have different gender identities, and that's what happened.
What do they say? Maybe I forgot they have some sort of explanation for this, but Will, you probably know. What do they say about the incredibly incriminating text messages that Tyler sent?
They think they're fake. They think they're fake.
It's fake.
I mean, they say, doesn't it sound a little fake to you? I mean, that's the evidence.
It doesn't sound like a Gen Z. I've received people messaging me about this when they're mad that I won't go along with their conspiracies. I have Gen Z kids. They don't talk like this. I know Gen Z friends. They don't text like this. It's he was a homeschool Mormon. Okay, he doesn't talk like your average Gen Z kid. He was a homeschooled Mormon kid. And here's the most important thing. The recipient of the text message is alive. The sender of the text message is alive. He doesn't want to be in jail for the rest of his life, presumably. So if the texts have been fabricated, it would be very easy for the sender or the recipient of the text to be like, yo, bro, we're being framed by the Jews. Candace has it right. That, we didn't send the text.
I mean, imagine if yes, but beyond that, if you ever wanted to throw a case and get it thrown out instantaneously, if you're a prosecutor, fabricating text messages would probably do the trick, right? There's no universe where these people trying to put Tyler Robinson away for life and maybe give him the death penalty are you know what we need to do? We need to make up a text exchange and then release it to the public. I can't. How do people fall for this nonsense? I'm worried about humanity.
Last one, Sam. I want to let you off the hook.
Thank you.
Once again,
no more Jews.
Once again, maybe I'm involved.
Okay.
The preschool Erica went to. Suspicious. Okay. Let's watch.
Oddly, the filing for that daycare doesn't have a floor number, but I can show you this photo of her at daycare. LOL, by the way, to her being dressed as a little bee and accidentally throwing up some Freemason hand signs. That's just a nice match. Looks adorable. Thereafter, she moves to Arizona and she attends a school that they have virtually tried to wipe from public existence. Now, it's very difficult to explain this unless you're in the weeds, but there is another school by the same name that goes on for a little bit longer. But this particular school came to fruition when a man named John T. Goley incorporated Educational Alternatives up in Minnesota. It was called Educational Alternatives Incorporated. Now, John T. Goley was a big guy. He had formerly helped launch Roundup Monsanto, just a little bit of government poisoning you, giving you a bunch of cancer. This time, though, he was pioneering charter schools in America. He teamed up with the Walton family, the Bush family.
Ooh.
Yeah. Everybody involved in this school that Erica's going to attend.
So for preschool, Erica was doing Freemason hand signs and then transferred suspiciously from one daycare to another daycare. The person that started that other preschool was funded by the charter school industry that funds every fucking charter school in the country, like the Waltons. So that's what's happening here.
The Bushes. Don't forget them.
I also need to point out, the reason she's saying, oh, she's dressed as a bee is because Candace has previously suggested that some sort of bee-related cult killed Charlie, because Mormons are really into bee symbology, beehives. And so when she looks at Utah, she sees a lot of bee stuff. And so so that's why she's saying, oh, interesting, she's dressed as a bee.
Wait, come on. You have to tell me more about the bee stuff. What the fuck?
Well, Mormons do a lot of like beehive symbols. They're into like the metaphor of a beehive. And so in Utah, there is a lot of like beehive type stuff in like logos and stuff. And so when she looks at Utah, she goes, oh my gosh, this organization has a bee in it, and this one does. And so that made her think maybe some sort of bee related organization or secret society was involved in the assassination. And isn't it interesting that Erica's dressed as a bee in that picture?
Possibly a bee cult. Possibly the Freemasons. Most likely the Jews. Most likely. The Center for Jerusalem Studies. Can't rule out the Walmart family and the Bushes because she once went to a charter school that was supported by the Waltons and the Bushes. Luckily, guys, how many more installments do we have of this, Will?
We don't know. I mean, I think they're going to keep coming. Probably. I mean, she said she might do it all year if Ben Shapiro keeps criticizing her. So,
I should have mentioned the Marine Corps is also involved. Wrapping this up,
Syrian Lebanese.
Wrapping up. Here's what we know.
Nothing.
Erica was born maybe November 20th, maybe November 22nd. After that birth, she went to a preschool. Dressed as a bee one time. She went to another preschool that was supported by the Walton family and the Bush family. Okay. That's what we know about her so far. Her parents, their marriage, we don't have a certificate for it, but it did happen in the same city where the Marine Corps was birthed. Grandmother, don't know much about the grandmother yet. Great-grandmother, illegal slots. Syrian Lebanese. On the other side, the Swedish Freemasons. And then we have the mommy aunt's uncle and mommy aunt's husband who started the Jerusalem Studies Center at UVU. Much more to learn. We're going to tie all those threads together, but that's what we know so far.
No doubt there will be a payoff. Yeah.
We'll keep you posted. Final thing. I just want to put this on the screen. The Washington Post is a little, it's just calling it right down the middle now. The newspaper formerly known as the Washington Post, they are interested in this story. They posted this post. This series promises to unearth secrets from Erica Kirk's past relevant to her stewardship of the powerful conservative nonprofit.
Oh, come on.
Just calling it like it is over the Washington Post. No balls and strikes. Okay. No, we're not going to put our finger on the scale about whether Erica or Candace might be right here. They watched the first episode. They learned about the bees, the Marine Corps, the Freemasons, and the Jerusalem Studies Center. Boys, that's Will Sommer. Sign up for his newsletter. That's Sam Stein. He's trying not to kill himself. I'm Tim Miller. We'll see you all soon. Subscribe to the feed. Hey, everybody. The trio is back. We are already being mean to each other in the green room. There hopefully is no HR people on this video. And we're excited to be here with you guys. All right, guys, we've got a lot to cover today. A lot happening in the right-wing media. But we do want to start with what's happened at a legacy media outlet, which is CNN. It's just legacy media for now, I guess, until the Ellisons take it over and turn it into, I don't know, make have like 4-hour blocks of Scott Jennings. I don't know what's exactly going to happen on CNN once the Ellisons take over. Barry Weiss's sister will probably have a show. 4 hours of Scott Jennings, TBD on what happens with Jake Tapper. So I want to play last night. Jennings was going after my boy Adam Mockler, and things got a little heated. There's even a curse. And I thought we should watch that together.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We
years.
all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that
Homie,
what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
One political concession. One political concession.
Hey, whoa. Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
Everybody,
my face.
hang tight,
Honestly.
okay?
He's aware of this live television.
Everybody calm down, okay? We're having a debate.
Got Geraldo there in the corner.
Wow. Sam, you've been on a lot of panels on cable news. There's been some heated moments. That's a little different.
I've never dropped an F-bomb on a panel. At least I don't think I have.
You definitely never pointed at somebody's face and dropped.
But I don't. Was he even? Yeah. I was gonna say, was Adam
No. I mean,
in his
when
face?
Jennings turned around, like, get your hand on my fucking face. Like, he was pointing at Mockler, telling him to fucking stop. Like,
I mean, I was gonna make
that's lost cool.
Yeah, I was gonna make the note of Geraldo being there. Geraldo must have been just absolutely like aroused by it all. It's like this is Geraldo's shit, right? Like he loves this shit. But also like the whole thing afterwards where Scott like felt like he needed to talk to Abby about, I'm not going to deal with this guy's hand in my face. Like I don't want to deal with this hand in my face. His hand really wasn't in his face. So I don't know what prompted it. It didn't seem like that serious an attack on Scott even. I don't know, why did he blow up
what
like
prompted
that?
it is a 19-year-old was owning him. And his manhood was in question, and he got triggered. I think his cortisol spiked.
His cortisol spiked, but that's crazy, that type of reaction.
I don't know. I think he felt like he got mogged very hard by Adam Mockler, and he looks at Adam Mockler and it's like, you're 12 and I'm losing badly to you. And so I'm going to threaten to fight. I mean, it's Michael Tracy-esque a little bit. You know, it's like meet me at the Hampton Inn after this, Adam Mockler. I don't know, Will, what did you make of it? You're an expert in cortisol.
Yeah, in cortisol spiking. Yeah, you know, I think you're right on there, Tim. I think you can tell. I mean, we have to also consider, you know, Kat Abou-Gazela, another kind of like young left wing person, is there too. So I feel like Scott maybe felt already like a little embattled, and then you know the part where Adam just goes, you know, I was still in high school when you were effing up, buddy, and you're doing it again, and another disaster for you. And then he just goes, you know, he flips out.
Yeah, I also just think, look, when I was on Piers, I think I brought this up on our last trio, but like, Piers can't find people to come on and defend the war, right? Like when I was on, like I agreed to because I wanted to argue about the war, and it was like supposed to be Doug, the person that calls himself a pastor, and Michael Knowles.
Oh, yeah.
But Michael Knowles didn't show up, and even Doug is more excited about bringing slavery back than he is about this war. Like Doug wasn't Doug was very kind of passive in his support for the war. And so it's like, it's hard to, and there are a handful out there, and you know, you can have Mark Thiessen and Micropenis Mark Levin. I've been like, they can't be on every panel, you know? And so it's tough. And I think Scott is in a situation where he's like playing the heel role, where he has to defend everything. He's decided that that's his role. And it's like, there's not a lot of good stuff to point to here.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. Do you think Scott doesn't actually support the war, and he just is like having to, he knows that this is his livelihood, is he has to just carry the water?
Does Scott even think about what he really supports anymore, is I guess a question. You know,
he's
or is
definitely
he fully
not
in character?
I think he's in character.
I think he's fully in character.
This is not me speaking. I don't think.
The war.
Sure. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, because I think other people have made this observation about Scott, but like I never considered him a major source of any variety, but like I definitely talked to Scott over the course of years, many years ago, and he's definitely become much more Trumpified than what he once was. And I think it's been pretty lucrative to the guy, honestly. Right? Like that's it.
And he's opened a lot of doors for him,
yeah.
Including this. Will flagged this right before he came on. I want to go ahead and put this up in the screen here. This is the Gulf of America cruise, a week at sea with those who share your values and perspective. Scott Jennings is the main character there. Mike Gallagher I thought that was Roger Stone until I read the words there, but that's Mike Gallagher.
Yeah, this is kind of the C
rough.
team.
Larry O'Connor is like a local DC conservative talk radio host.
Larry O'Connor is the
Larry
draw?
O'Connor, I believe, just got bumped up to national. They were making a big deal about it this week.
Okay.
It's the 6 a.m. slot though, so don't get too excited.
6 a.m.
I guess
slot,
that's drive
national
time.
talk radio. So yeah, Will. I mean, the conservative cruises are a thing, always been happening for a long time. But the Gulf of America cruise with Scott imagine being at sea for a week with Scott Jennings. Boy.
And Larry O'Connor.
Get that finger out of my fucking face.
I like how they're
Get out
all
of my
in suit
buffet
jackets
line.
in the picture as well. It's like, are these guys going to be shirtless? Am I going to have to see Scott Jennings' nipples if I go on this cruise?
Well, as you said, I mean, look, conservative cruises are a long time tradition. I believe our colleague Bill Crystal, at least, and maybe some others, have definitely, hit the Lido deck once or twice.
For sure.
And so, in this case, I do think this is a bit lower rent. We're kind of going down. I think National Review has had a cruise. It's that. I mean, Scott Jennings is by far like the biggest deal person on this cruise.
Yeah.
How much do you get to be on this cruise if you're Scott Jennings, do you think? Like, what are they paying you here? Who's doing this cruise, by the way?
I guess I'll let you just put this in from my perspective.
How much would they have to pay you, Tim?
I think $100,000. I think $100,000 a week at sea. You're trapped on a boat with people that like want to corner you and all the time. I mean, if it's a conservative cruise, anything. I'm trapped on a boat and I'm like a monkey in a zoo. Like you're paying me to go and just clap the chimes and like walk around and talk. I have a life, man. I've got friends. I've got family. Like what? Why would I want to do? I wouldn't take my family on a cruise. I think $100,000 is the number
for folks out there. I would do it for $99.99. Okay,
Well,
you get a deal.
What's your cruise cost?
Look, I mean, I think this shows. I've never been on a cruise before. I'm curious. I was going to say, look, I mean, you put me up 3 hots and a cot. I'll do it.
There you go.
Why not?
The Will Sommer Bulwark cruise is coming into focus right now.
Oh man!
And the name's right there. We already have the pun. It's the Will Sommer cruise with the Bulwark.
Yes, I like it.
You could be the MC. All right. Well, this isn't the only cruise out there that I wanted to chat with you guys about. We have a cruise themed episode. I came across this video on Instagram. I have a hate follow on Instagram, which is a gay conservative named Rob Smith. And occasionally, when I'm feeling a little feisty on Instagram, we'll argue with each other in the comment section of our Instagram posts, which is a very healthy thing to do.
Yeah, you need help.
It's definitely what I should be spending my time on. But I came across this and it caught my eye. This is Rob Smith from the first annual Gay Conservative Cruise. Let's watch.
All right, as you can see behind me, I am on the first ever gay and lesbian conservative cruise. We are about to sail away right now. All these red shirts you see behind me are gay and lesbian Trump supporters. It is absolutely incredible. Thanks to Steve for putting this on at Right of Center events. It's absolutely incredible. The energy has been so good. Everybody is so happy to be here. Everybody is so happy to be an open, out, and proud conservative.
It's like a lot of fun.
And I got to tell you, if you were not here this year, you definitely got to be here next year.
Where are they? Is that a parking
lot? I want to go also before we get your reaction. Everybody got a visual there. You could see the crowd size. Everyone there in the red shirts. Matt, can we look at the other video where Rob gives his top takeaways from the cruise?
I'm on the first ever gay and lesbian conservative cruise. Here are 3 things that I learned about the gay conservative movement. Number 1 is that it's actually a very diverse movement. You've got the people that will wear t-shirts that says like Hillary for Prison 2016. They'll wear Trump 45, 47 hats. They'll wear MAGA hats. Like they're super into like the online MAGA thing. But also you have people that are just chill, Republican conservatives, make money, don't want to pay taxes. They voted for Trump, but they're not like super into all of that MAGA stuff. So, it's a very diverse group of people. The second thing that I learned is that gay conservatives blend within just basically mainstream straight world probably better than a lot of the Alphabet Mafia does. This is not the entire boat. We've got about a third of this boat, so there are straight men and women and kids and all that stuff, and everybody is just kind of like, you know, coexisting. And
there are children on the gay conservative cruise?
And number 3, honestly, it's just gay conservatives are so much more normal than the alphabet mafia. I mean, look, people want to have their cocktails, you know.
So, like, imagine you sign up for a cruise. Okay, it's you. You brought your mom along. It's grandma's there with you. You've got your 3 kids. You're going to the cruise. You get onto the ship. You're excited for dinner and a show, some time by the pool, and 1/3 of the boat is conservative homosexuals in red T-shirts talking about how much they want to bang Rick Grinnell. Like, what? That is a nightmare.
Nightmare. You're like, I thought I was just here to see Scott Jennings. Where's Scott Jennings? Oh, wait, where's Larry O'Connor?
What boat company did this? Is this Carnival? This is an affront. Whatever boat company did, you cannot have a 1/3 full gig. If you can't fill up the boat, you can't have the cruise. Okay? I mean, we don't want like cruising, sauna time between these fucking pudgy ass gay homos. And like,
you can say this. You can.
Kids are running by. Kids are running by.
Yeah, it does. There's a story. Can I tell you a story about this? This kind of happened to me, not to this degree, and I was younger. But my family was on a trip in Israel, and I was like 12 or something, maybe 11, and we were at the Sea of Galilee. This is going places. And it happened to be New Year's Eve. And my sister, who's older than me, was like wanting to party. And because she was like 13, 14, she wanted to actually go out and do something. And so she organized our whole family, including my younger brother, who's like 6 years younger than me, to go on a boat on the Sea of Galilee that night. And so we're like, cool, we'll go on the boat. We all get on the boat and we look up and we notice it's all men on the boat. And it's just all men and just my family. And they're all dancing with each other. So we were stuck on the Sea of Galilee with a bunch of gay Israelis for New Year's Eve for hours. So, yes, this would be an equivalent of that, except they'd be conservative in this case.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite the story. That was a formative moment for you, Sam.
Yeah.
Did you see anything? Was there
it was a great New Year's.
Did you learn about poppers on that trip?
I was 11 or 12. Actually, this does raise another question. How much would you charge to go on that cruise?
The gay conservative cruise.
The gay conservative cruise. $150?
I think $500,000. Just so you guys know, we had some technical difficulties, and I got Sam down to $49,000 on the
you drove a hard bargain.
Will's summer cruise. So only $49,000. So Sam's probably happening for Sam. Sure. Well, what did you? Has there been a lot of buzz about the gay conservative cruise?
This is really the first I'm hearing of it. I mean, I think I was looking at this website, this right of center, gay cruise operation. And, I think for one of their cruises, it's like 30 people. It looks like Rob's was a little bigger than that. I will say Rob is like pretty willing to do stuff for a paycheck. I mean, he famously just took a couple months ago, he took a trip to Qatar and was just like, Qatar is an amazing American ally. So the one other thing I wanted to note is like, you can see kind of the quandary of the gay conservative where he's like, the big difference with us, we can be around kids. And it's like, oh, okay. I think liberal gay people can be around kids too.
Yeah, I have kids. It's also very strange. It's like, we're normal. Are you? You guys are all there in your matching red shirts, and somebody apparently had a Hillary for Prison shirt on. That's a decade old. Like, what is your definition of normal? So it's like when JD Vance was like, the normal gays are with me. I
like how the diversity
Peter Thiel. Whose
diversity
skin is melting.
Diversity in this case is some wear like truly obnoxious T-shirts, and others choose not to. Like that's the spectrum here, folks.
Wow. It seemed like the turnout wasn't great. I guess is really the big takeaway. I think that Rob is in. Well, I think that Rob has a good grift going. I think he's realized this, but it's just the whole notion that the MAGA movement was going to be really accepting and excited for gays. I feel like that's waning, And
this is the guy you engage on Instagram at night?
Yeah. Okay. Didn't see a lot of hotties with bodies on that cruise either. I guess I'll throw that out there. All right. We have a couple other things I want to update us on. With last trio video, we were discussing the Candace Loomer feud. which has escalated some. How could you escalate from tramp stamp and your husband is gay, you wonder? Well, this is how. The screenshot of Candace sending a text saying Erica killed Charlie.
That was put out by Turning Point USA. We saw Erica Kirk had this disastrous appearance where she dressed like a rapper or like a paramilitary. And then Turning Point said, oh my gosh, we got to turn the heat up. And so they put out this text that Candace sent to a Turning Point employee who was kind of like under her sway and said, you should ask Erica why she killed Charlie Kirk, which is like pretty poor advice, I would say. But basically this is all really ramping up. Laura Loomer dug up Candace's husband's DUI arrest and his mugshot. So things are getting uglier.
Let's take a look at that. Oh, he's kind of a handsome guy, George Farmer. It's too bad that he's in the clutches of Candace. You would think he could do better.
Oh, and he's rich too, and they got married within, like a couple weeks of knowing each other.
It does raise questions. I don't want to be on the side of Candace, but it is a little curious to meet somebody, immediately get married when you have a lot of options. Generally you see the kind of minor notables, minor royals, kind of playing the field a little more.
So for a long time now, people have been saying, when is someone going to sue Candace over this stuff? Obviously, Brigitte Macron is suing her over the trans stuff, but Candace had not been sued over the Turning Point stuff. So then on Thursday, the head of Charlie Kirk's security, who, as you can imagine, was very implicated by Candace and all these theories, a guy named Brian Harpole, he finally sued, represented by top DOJ official Harmeet Dillon's law firm. So you can see there's kind of like some official MAGA backing here. So he's suing over a truly bizarre, of all Candace's ideas, she had this guy on who argued he saw Erica and this Brian Harpole guy at a military base the day before the assassination, suggesting that it was kind of this like deep state plot. So now he's suing over that.
Assume that Harmeet Dillon signed off on this and is orchestrating this?
Well, I have to assume that now that she's in government running the civil rights division, I would assume she's like not that involved. But I mean, this is like an official like. Well, it is called Dillon Law, So, I do think that this is like a group that is very much like a conservative movement law firm. Yeah. Like they've represented a bunch of other people in like defamation. They represented Loomer, in the past. Now she's suing one of their lawyers or one of their attorneys did.
Can we talk a little bit about the Erica Kirk appearance? The video she cut from the studio looking like Jamiroquai a little bit. Why did she do that? What's the explanation? I'm honestly not trying to I feel for her. She has to do this shit, and she went through another trauma at the White House Correspondents Association dinner, and people give her a lot of shit, and I'm not for that. But it does seem like at some point she should recognize that the more she puts herself out there, she's not doing herself any favors.
I guess, does she need to do this? That's my point. I've also been sympathetic. I cringe a little bit at some of the more over-the-top attacks on her, particularly in the wake of her husband's death. But it's been going on for a while now, and she decided to take over an organization that's a political organization, and with that comes criticism and mockery, like the Drewski video, which was fucking hilarious.
I serve a righteous God, and that is why we say our prayers.
Hilarious. But I don't know. If I got assassinated next week, I don't think Tyler would take over the podcast. You know what I mean? It's a kind of a rare thing. Like every once in a while this will happen where a spouse will take over their, it's usually the wife who takes over their husband's mission. This does happen in politics from time to time, but she doesn't have to do it. I mean, that's Andrew Colvett guy seems like he's basically running TPUSA anyway. He could have done that. They could have gone and done a search and found someone else, whoever is the most impressive of the little Nazis running their various campus organizations. Like that person could have taken it over, right? It's strange. And she seems very volatile and emotionally unstable. And it's just why are you doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I give her some leeway for the emotional instability, but to your point, every time she goes public, and this is happens every single time, it just doesn't really. I mean, she's just subjecting herself to this cruelty, and maybe something is just fuck the haters, right? But at the same time, it doesn't seem like she does herself any favors by doing these types of videos.
She's also just not that good at it, which is the other thing, right? She's just not good at it, and it's just okay. I mean. There are things I'm not good at, right? If I was married to an NBA player and they got assassinated, I wouldn't take over their role as the shooting guard of the team. I'm not good at that. And she's not good at this. And so I just think that would be.
Will, do the people, is there any like internal TPUSA gossip you hear about this or no?
I hear from sort of people, sort of like tertiary TPUSA people, and I do think there is this sense of like, I think after a few months, people I think cut her a lot of slack because obviously she was grieving, facing these things. But I think as we're saying here, it's been a rough 7 months in terms of her public image and stuff. And for me, I think what was so crazy was this outfit, this all black, this kind of like, whatever you want to call it.
It's like a cat burglar.
Yeah, like a cat burglar. And so I think after like a couple months of being like, okay, I think my instincts are off. Even if you're going to stay in this role, I think maybe let's have a more, conservative, sort of less ambitious look for this. And the other thing I would say is that like, she mentions the Drewski skit, which you mentioned, Tim. I mean, she said, I've been taking all these arrows. Candace Owens says I murdered my husband. There are comedians doing whiteface of me.
I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband.
And, Ashley St. Clair and Milo Yiannopoulos, after that video came out, they said, look, like Charlie Kirk loved when he was lampooned in the mainstream media because obviously it's a sign of his success. It kind of makes more people aware of him. They said he would have, had Drewski done a whiteface thing of him, he would have been dining out on that for 6 months. He maybe would have done a video with Drewski. And so, I mean, I understand that she's not up for that. But at the same time, it's kind of like what the modern media environment requires.
Yeah. Rough all around for old Erica. Okay. What else do we have here? I don't know what this is. I've just been told that there's a Callista Gingrich Facetune item that has been prepared for this video. And let's just take a look, and I'll be learning along with the viewers.
Hello, I'm Callista Gingrich, and I'm delighted to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week.
What?
As U.S. Ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein, I've seen firsthand the power of apprenticeship.
Play it again. I was too far. I was scared. It's like an apparition.
Hello, I'm Callista Gingrich, and I'm delighted to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. As U.S. Ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein, I've seen firsthand the power of apprenticeships.
What is happening with her face? What is that?
I don't know. Why did they do the blue screen behind her?
I mean, that looks like the kind of thing in a movie that's like, welcome to the bunker. Like the world as you know it no longer exists.
That does seem like that.
Can we just pull it up as a still? I need to take one more look at it.
Did they mean
what?
Did they mean for the blue screen to have like a fake CGI backdrop on it, and they just didn't put in like, was it like supposed to be like the Swiss Alps or something like there?
Apprentices?
Yeah, and they feels like this is supposed to be from The Leftovers, like a type situation. I mean, that is spooky. That is spooky. Do you think her and Newt are still kissing?
Yeah, man. They put up pictures all the time of them on the golf course.
And that sort of gets to another point. I mean, famously, she's a big fan of Facetune, right? Where you kind of like smooth out your face. And she doesn't give Newt the same treatment.
Yeah.
And so, Newt will look like an old guy, and then she has like a totally smooth face. So I kind of assume the same thing's going on here.
Can I just tell everybody, look, if you want to do something to make yourself feel better, like to your face or to your body, I'm for it. Okay. I don't do anything that would make you feel, I don't want to do anything that would inhibit your ability to be your true self. I just as an objective observer though, if you overdo it on the face tuning, it is creepy. It takes you into the uncanny valley. Like I would rather see a couple of your wrinkles. Like I would rather feel like you're a human that I can touch, who breathes, who has a beating heart, who gets excited in the bedroom, right? Like this does not look like that. This looks like a strange apparition, inhuman, that is very scary and makes me want to run away from you. And I see this in my personal life. I see some people that overdo it on the face tuning. I'm like, a little light face tuning, spruce things up a little bit, little thought pick, sweet. But once you're teetering into Is this a human or is this some other kind of foreign species inhabiting our planet? That's a mistake. And if you want somebody just to be a gut check for you on that, you can just shoot me a message with the draft and I'll do my best to review.
We've really come full circle on this conversation. We started with hands being too close to someone's face, and we've ended with face tuning. Look at that.
Well, there you go, Sam Stein. This is why you're usually in the host chair. We'll leave it there. Come see us in San Diego or Los Angeles. Subscribe to the feed. We are getting passed by some of these MAGA losers on YouTube subscriptions. So fucking subscribe right now.
Please.
Go subscribe. And tell your friends to subscribe. And if you have a second account, just subscribe on that one too, just for fun.
If we raise enough money from paid subscriptions, we will use those funds to pay for Tim to go on a gay cruise.
For Will Sommer Cruise. Will Sommer Cruise, brought to you by the Bulwark. We'll see y'all then. Bye.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sam Stein, managing editor at the Bulwark, and I am with Tim Miller and Will Sommer. We're back. It's been a while, boys. How you doing? You're supposed to answer.
I'm good. I was letting Will answer. It's the trio. Here's the thing. We're just, we might be a little awkward because we're about to be together, and there's a little tension building. You might even say some sexual tension building as we're thinking about going through TSA. Like Thomas Massie did.
There's a lot going on about Tom Massie, who's got an election. We're recording this on a Monday. He's got an election on a Tuesday. Not looking particularly great, but it's still up in the air. But a slew of stuff happening from MAGA accounts accusing him of having a voracious sexual appetite in the time period after his wife passed tragically. Will, can you give us the rundown, since you monitor this stuff way more aggressively than either Tim and I do, and you have more comfort talking about Viagra and men's penises? Well, maybe
I've been monitoring this case very closely. So the backstory here is that about a week ago, this woman named Cynthia West came out, and she's this kind of like very minor. She's like running for school board in some town in Florida. And she said, I dated Thomas Massie, and there was this kind of like a payoff, maybe something like, this sort of weird situation where she claimed he offered her $5,000 in quote unquote cow money. So untraceable money Thomas Massie had made from selling cows. Basically, now this has evolved into this week. Laura Loomer interviewed Cynthia, and I think it's like 2.5 hours. I mean, it just came out as we're recording this. I'm just diving in now. And it gets, you could just hate Thomas Massie's guts. You could be Donald Trump, whatever. Trump's promoting this interview, by the way. But the amount of detail, and Massie has confirmed he dated this woman, so this is real. But the amount of detail we get on their sex lives, nothing criminal, nothing like of a Me Too nature, just like embarrassing, weird, dirty talk stuff.
Give us the top 3 highlights so that Tim can riff off them.
Sure. So the most important one, I would say, is these text messages have come out that reveal, allegedly, that Thomas Massie refers to his penis as his pine cone, and said things like, I was going through TSA and they brushed up against the pine cone set off like the body scanner. And then the girlfriend says, oh, and you just took Viagra. And he says, oh, brother, So yeah, I was ready to rock, or like you took the pill. So I guess that's the most important takeaway.
I mean, a couple thoughts here. I'm just kind of looking at various pine cones. A lot of them aren't really, kind of like the ideal image for your penis. Like if you were trying to compare your penis to something to brag about it, I don't know that the pine cone shape is what you're really going for. It's not the platonic
what
ideal.
What are you going for, Tim?
That's not really, like in the gay community, it's just not the platonic ideal.
In the non-fruit and vegetable category.
Yeah, well, I would like, so I can't do eggplant. What would be another more appropriate one? I don't know, like a miniature baseball bat. I don't know. A mini bat, one of those souvenir bats you get at a game with the kids. I don't know. Anyway, we'll keep thinking about it. But that's takeaway number one. Takeaway number 2, I always do like to say this. We can joke about it and tease about it. But sex is good. Sex is important. It's how we procreate the species. And we should be encouraging of it. And nobody sounds cool or chill in leaked sex. Nobody. Like, no matter how cool you are, like whether you're like whoever the coolest person is you have in your mind, Kendrick Lamar, Justin Bieber, whatever, you go back in time into history, Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain's sex would have been very cringe and embarrassing. There's no way to do it that doesn't sound a little goofy when it's taken out of the context of the moment. And so I want to offer that caveat for any additional jokes we make about Thomas Massie's pinecone.
I think he comes off looking just fine, honestly. I mean, relative to other sex, to your point, like there's so much
Cal
worse.
Cunningham sex.
He's like, oh, my dick set off the TSA alarm. That sounds pretty cool, honestly.
There's sort of a libertarian fantasy to it, right? This idea of like my virility, the agents of the state were shocked by my manhood literally bursting out of my pants. I mean, that is like a guy in the backwoods. He's going to love that story.
Yeah.
This is the stuff an Ayn Rand legend.
And it's almost
exactly. Who is Thomas
It's almost
Massey?
feminist
I
in a
was
way
definitely
too.
shrugged at that one.
Because Thomas Massey wants to end the TSA because he doesn't want to expose people to his pinecone schlong. So it's consistent. There's a consistency.
Oh my God. Has Massie talked about any of this? Has he addressed this stuff?
Oh, he has not. And again, I mean, Donald Trump is promoting this. I mean, this is like now the White House is fully behind this like 2.5 hour, penthouse forum essentially letter.
And what about Boebert, who's been dragged into this
Okay,
totally
Boebert,
unintentionally?
I know. I have my own theories about this. So here's what happened. So in this interview, this woman says she kind of gets dragged out of her. By the way, Laura is like a very, sent her to Guantanamo Bay. I mean, she's out for maybe multiple reasons, but as an interrogator, because she really like drags it out of this lady. And so she says, he was in a relationship with another woman. And she says, oh, who was it? She goes, it was Lauren Boebert. And so basically, my theory is this. I think this lady may believe that Lauren Boebert was in a sexual relationship with Thomas Massey. He may have told her that. Maybe they were. I don't know. But I also think that Thomas Massey has a rich sexual fantasy life, and that he may have been, based on these accounts, and he may have just sort of been making things up.
A rich interior life. Men have rich interior lives too. Sometimes people don't realize that. I think it's important to point out, if we're going to discuss this reporting by Laura Loomer, that simultaneously to trying to expose Thomas Massey's virile pinecone, she's also pushing for the deportation of all Muslims from the country. And that was her response to a violent, murderous attack on an Islamic center. Her response was not that we should do something to stop the attackers, but that we should ban all Muslims from the country. I do think, it bears mentioning that given her access to the president and her influence and her centrality to the story, how grotesque of a person it is that we're dealing with.
I thought you were going to take that in a different direction. I thought you were going to say that she has lived, that it's important to keep in mind that she has no credibility whatsoever, makes shit up all the time. But yes, she also is bigoted against Muslims. So there's that too. Again, folks, just a reminder, this is just a sampling of what you'll get in San Diego. Hunter Biden.
You get laughs, you get dick talk, you'll get righteous rants against the liberal MAGA right. You get all of it. We're touching all the bases.
All right, switching topics quickly. Hunter Biden's going on Candace Owens, or am I hallucinating? Well,
that's right. He's going on Candace Owens, coming out later this week. I think he's kind of like a clout shark now. He's out for internet attention. He teamed up with the guy from Andrew Callahan from Channel 5, a popular YouTube channel. They did a couple live shows together. I think he's just, I think he's out for attention. Maybe does he have political ambitions? Who knows?
I think this sucks very badly. And I expressed that on X.com, the Everything app. And several people, Hunter Biden defenders, replied to me. They're saying things such as, but Tim, you said that Democrats should go on to Joe Rogan. But Tim, you said that it's good to engage with Hassan Piker, et cetera, et cetera. You are the person who's saying we should engage with these things. Why is this different? And I would like to just address that briefly. Number one, Hunter Biden is not, as far as we know, beside Will's suggestion, like a Democrat running for office that is trying to encourage people to support Democrats. He's a guy doing a lot of past recriminations about the treatment of his family, which is fine, totally okay to do. But I don't think that he's doing this as part of some effort to help the Democratic brand inside the Candace Owens bubble. But really more important than that, Candace is a lunatic. who has advanced like tons of insane conspiracy theories, like unabashedly racist theories. And so, like, in the same way as I said this about going into those other places, it's like, if you are going to do it, you're going to have to be really ready to engage and like fight with him. And that doesn't really seem like his MO. So we'll see how it turns out. But like, he's clout chasing, but this is helping Candace's clout. Like, this is again making it like Candace is once again a central, node of the conversation because she's inserted herself into this, and it seems like it's doing her a big favor.
Would you felt the same way if we did Tucker?
I would have probably felt the same way, and there'd be an interesting little caveat there, which is like Tucker and him were like friends.
That's
and
what I was
there'd be some level which I would be like
a
little titillated by wondering if they went into like the college essay recommendation that Hunter asked Tucker for
into Georgetown or something like that.
But like, I think that there is a eye of the beholder on all of this. Like, if if you're gonna play in the junkyard, you're gonna get bit. But I don't. To me, it's like Candace. I just think is beyond the line of acceptability.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. All right, last one. Will, talk about your newsletter tonight. It involves a kind of a MAGA figure from yonder. What's his name? McCluskey?
Mark McCluskey.
Yeah.
Yes, people make
the guy, and then his wife had the little mini baby gun.
Yeah,
she had like the Beretta, and he had like the kind of AR-15.
They lived catty corner from my aunt. Big moment when that happened in the family text chain.
So people may remember Mark and Patricia McCloskey from the 2020 Black Lives Matter. There was a march in St. Louis, and they went by this rich lawyer's mansion, and him and his wife came out with their guns and were kind of, warding people off. Now, for about a year now, he's been deeply embroiled in the quest for January 6th reparations. He teamed up with Trump's old high school classmate, a guy named Peter Tickton, who has made a career out of being like, I went to school with Trump 50 years ago. And so basically the two of them, they had this quixotic quest, and they thought, and McCloskey basically bailed. He said, I'm sick. I don't care anymore. And then we saw last week, the funds happening. 1.7 billion for victims of the Biden DOJ weaponization. And suddenly Mark McCloskey, the next day, he says, I'm healed. I'm back. Guys, I can help with your cases. I can take a maybe 20%, 30% again. And now Peter Tickton and McCloskey are at each other's necks, and they are not, and all the J6 people are like, I don't need a lawyer anymore. I'm taking this whole thing myself.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
What a magical moment. I mean, if you listened to, the Trump pastor that talked about how we waited 200 years for the Lord to give us a leader with the strength to bring us a ballroom, you start to think, you can never know when the Lord's power will infuse someone and make them realize that they can get cash out of a grift.
It's amazing. It's amazing when money gets involved. Can I give you guys a little sort of sweetener to close this out? A little breaking news as we're sitting here talking. Dylan Byers of Puck has a scoop. Paramount leadership has had informal discussions about changing Barry Weiss's mandate at CBS News and eventually CNN in ways that would give her less control over TV.
That's a shame.
It was going so well. Tony was stuck in Taiwan, but other than that, feel bad.
What's tough timing, to go to put a person in charge of news who had no experience with the news, who was an unapologetic banger of the war drums, like 1 week before the stupidest and most disastrous war, in recent memory, was launched by the administration. Did create some problems, I think, for the brand.
Well, we'll see how it goes. She still is in a leadership role. All right, fellas, it's great to talk to you both. We'll do this again. Take care. Hey everyone, it's me, Sam Stein, managing editor of the Bulwark. I'm joined by Tim Miller and Will Sommer for the latest edition of the trio. It's been too long, fellas. We got a lot to dive into. We're going to be talking about Ivanka Island, Albanian protests, a weird candidate in Tim's home state, a governor candidate who believes in exorcisms?
In this case, the home state being Colorado, not my current state. Yeah.
You have a weird history of connection with weird governors, I should say. George Santos, we're going to make Tim talk about George Santos violating a principle. We may dive into Bill Pulte and Harley Davidson. I don't know. Elijah Schaffer, got to do Elijah Schaffer.
Or cock rings.
Yeah.
Cock ring story I got into on the main podcast. We won't believe that
I
over
saw
there.
that. What was that? Did they? Well, we'll get into all that. I'm thinking of inviting Scott Pelley to join the trio if he's got some free time. I feel like a guest appearance by Scott Pelley. The quad. We'll turn it into the quad if Scott Pelley comes on. We're not going to talk about Scott
If
Pelley.
your agent is out there, Scott Pelley, we are interested in having you join the quad. I don't think we can pay CBS kind of money, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, you'd be like loosening up a little bit from your 60 Minutes roots. So we'll see. Maybe he'll do it. Let's start with Ivanka Island. This thing is blowing up, and I don't think it's getting proper attention in the media. But it's all over my feed. I guess it's because I clicked on one of her weird videos. So let's play the video and then we'll get you some background. Basically, they want to take over an island. She and Jared want to take over an island off the coast of Albania in the Mediterranean. And the people of Albania are not having it. But let's play her discussing it.
I'm working on an incredible project with my husband in the Mediterranean. It's massive in scale.
I think that's an understatement. Can you explain?
Yes, it is.
There's no power on this island. You're building everything from scratch. Correct.
Well, it's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400 hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean. We were on a friend's boat and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the island. We went on a hike barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated. And it stayed with us ever since. And over the course of many years, we developed the opportunity to help realize its potential and transform it, but with a lot of restraint and care because the land is so beautiful.
Is that not a normal activity?
At least Don Jr.'s himself. At least Don Jr., give me just the unapologetic, big game murdering, sniffing, fuck up kid over this nonsense, this fake nonsense. And I'm sorry, I'm sure we'll get into the merits of this, and I stand with the people of Albania. But just as an aside point, the millennial beige is over. Stop it. Stop with this color palette. It's I want to see a color. Why is her whole house or whatever room she's in, everything is white? It is antiseptic. It is horrible. It's horrible. It gives me blah.
I was blown away by how detached it felt. She's like, we're on a friend's boat, just in the middle of the Mediterranean, as one does. Yeah. We found this beautiful island, and we climbed the mountains in bare feet, and we had to have it. And
we had to have it.
We had to have it.
It's who is the girl in Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Veruca Salt.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
Daddy, give me that. I need that island now.
All right, so a little background on the island. It's a $1.4 billion luxury hotel complex that they want to put on this island. It's for development of some peninsula there. They're going to, touch on some sensitive wetlands. There's obviously concerns about what this means. Apparently, this island was some old Cold War outpost. There's a lot of old, weaponry that they have to get rid of. And the people of Albania are not particularly pleased by this idea that they're going to create the, quote, most ambitious, attractive destination of this side of the Mediterranean. We have some clips of the Albanian protests that we're going to play now. This is all happening in real time, but let's play some of these Albanian protests.
They're
going to overthrow the government.
Can you imagine?
Notice the flamingo, because there are flamingos on the island. They're mad.
It's unbelievable that Ivanka and Jared, who's also, I guess, trying to solve what's going on in Iran, have caused an international incident because they want their eco-tourist destination off the coast of Albania.
This is a crazy situation. I mean, technically, Sam, I will say there are two islands, I believe, that are in the mix here. One of them is a secretive Cold War submarine base. The other is the wetlands that are beloved by flamingos, right? So there's so much going on here. I mean, you're saying this is an international incident. There's a video. There were protests outside of the island, and the security guards grabbed one of the protesters and started beating him and then dragged him away. Maybe we can include that video later. But basically, that protester was a Greek citizen. So now this has caused a diplomatic row with the Greek government. And now the EU, Albania is trying to join the EU. And the EU said, well, you know what? it seems like there's maybe some corruption going on in this process, and you can't be corrupt if you want to join. So we might have to, question your EU membership status. So this is really spiraling out of control.
A diplomatic row, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flap.
This is a flap. This is a kerfuffle. This is so Veepish, and this is so Selena Meyer. It's just like you do all of a sudden, like it's like, madam, there are protests. There are protests in the streets of Albania.
They're literally like the capital of Albania is like up in arms.
How do you pronounce it? Tirana? Madam, the protests in the streets of Tirana because of your actions in the Flamingo wetlands, because of your commentary about the Flamingo wetlands. It's pretty good. I stand with the people in the streets of Albania fully, though. Do not fold. Do not let the Kushners rape your wetlands. Okay?
For real. It's ridiculous. This is also... I was reading that they're trying to like ask for the seizure of the money. They want to like stop the purchase. Will, you probably have researched this more than us. Who knows? You might be DMing the Prime Minister of Albania for all I know. But like, what's he saying about this? It can't be like, if I were the president of Albania or the Prime Minister of Albania, I would be like, yeah, this is an easy one. I'm not going to let the Kushner, Ivanka Trumps of the world grab our territory and create a hotel.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Prime Minister is all in on this.
Oh, no.
So he has said that Ivanka Island will put Albania on what he called the Champions League of world tourist destinations. So he's really excited about it. Now, as you said, the money from this is coming from a mix of Qatari and Saudi money. And obviously, I guess Jared's maybe putting up some amount. But just recently, just this week, anti-corruption prosecutors in Albania froze the accounts of the Qatari landowners of the island. So that is all kind of thrown into chaos there.
We'll see where this progresses, but it's blowing up on the Twitters. I'm a little bit surprised it hasn't gotten any conventional coverage here in the United States, but if there continues to be protests,
if you're a Democrat, I would start planning an August recess trip to Tirana. Get there on the ground, all right, and start to show your solidarity. It's a global resistance, okay, against the oligarchs and the MAGA fascists. And one of the battles now is Albania.
The other thing this is so minor, but do you normally use hectares as a unit?
Hectares, when you're talking about hectares, you're probably up to no good. I think it's fair to say. If I could just make a couple, there are some interesting, Tim talks about Democrats using this. There are some political parallels or construction parallels between this and the demolition of the East Wing. Number one, this was all rushed through. There was no announcement of these plans, and people only noticed because they were like, why are the bulldozers all over our beloved wetlands island? And so they kind of just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
A rape. Just like a rape. Like I said, they're raping the wetlands. And they come from a history of that. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
The other thing is that everyone is being online is like, oh, they're drawing parallels with Epstein Island. I'm not drawing parallels just for the lawyers. I'm just saying this is what they're saying.
I'm thinking about getting some Albania merch. If you're a viewer from Albania.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's our next live show destination.
Yeah, or maybe I should visit. I was going to say, I'm thinking about my vacation. My vacation is already planned, but all of a sudden I'm starting to think maybe I should do a quick detour into Albania.
Or just look for some other hectares of land that you can pillage. All right. This one I had no clue was actually happening till Tim, you flagged it in our Slack. Who is Victor Marx? Why do I care about this person?
I would kind of defer to Will. I had a tweet-length knowledge of this, which I saw, and I was like, this is interesting. There's a Colorado Republican gubernatorial hopeful who is hexing people. And I don't know, Will, what have you found out about Victor?
Victor Marx is a truly powerful new figure to sort of enter our national discourse. I mean, there's a lot to draw on here. Essentially, this guy is a pastor. He has claimed he was in the military, but not in a combat role, yet he's claimed to have killed people. He said that he wrote a book about himself called Dangerous Gentleman. He's been billed as the world's fastest disarmer. So he went on Sean Ryan's show and like pulled a guy's gun out of his hand. I mean, he's an expert in Cajun karate, which is the
What?
world's first Christian self-defense discipline. Sounds pretty impressive until you find out his dad invented Cajun karate. His dad was a former pimp down in New Orleans. So basically,
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that we had a connection.
There's a New Orleans connection.
And now-
my God, a Colorado, Louisiana connection. me
he's
and
just like
Victor.
you, Tim. You guys have a lot.
Tim, you
And-
gotta support this guy, Tim. There's too much
We
symmetry
should at
here.
least get him on the pod, Victor.
And now he's the Republican frontrunner for governor of Colorado. But that may be changing because he's being asked even a few questions about his background, and it's all falling apart.
He's the front runner over Mr. Bottoms. There's a state legislator named Mr. Bottoms that's running, but he's losing in the polls to Marx.
We'll pull up the Kalshi odds in a second. The local interviewer, 9 News, Kyle Clark, who does good work, talked to him. He asked if he had killed people as an adult, and Victor Marx got upset with that. Victor Marx took credit for helping rescue 43 missing children in Florida, but could offer no proof of that.
Wait, did you say 43,000?
43 missing children in Florida. But he also said he had rescued more than 45,000 women and children, which he had also previously asserted before removing the claim from his campaign website. And he declined to address the claim that as a civilian, he once called in a military airstrike that killed 70 fighters from the Islamic State group. And then he told Clark how he performs exorcisms over the phone.
I apologize. Exorcism's not hexes. It's the opposite. I got that opposite. So I apologize, Mr. Marx.
He would
It's
never
important.
dabble in black magic.
No, that's totally different. All right, let's play him talking about exorcisms, please.
You perform exorcisms, commanding demons to come out of people. Can you explain to me how that works?
I don't command the demons to come out of someone. I think of them as assignments or attachments to people. And we identify the demon like Jesus did. We ask what their name is, and then we give them commands. And they very frequently and typically will answer. Through the person's mind, they'll tell us what they hear, and then we destroy them, banish them to perfect judgment from Christ.
You also perform these exorcisms by phone. Are those just as effective?
They are.
Where does the demon go at the end of the exorcism?
We send them to the footstool of Jesus Christ, who we believe is sitting at the right hand of the Father, who then absolutely gives them perfect judgment of what happens.
He exorcised the demon. We need the Ace Ventura clip.
He says, I don't charge for the exorcisms. And Kyle Clark goes, well, here on your website, you sell the exorcism advice for $99. And the guy goes,
Can I zag a little bit here? This seems like a very smart platform to run for governor.
Demon exorcisms.
Your head of state is going to get that demon out of your life, and he's got experience doing it.
We like demons in Colorado a little bit. I will say, so you mentioned Kalshi. Way before these losers tried to make money on turning everything in our lives into gambling, my buddies over at ColoradoPols.com have been putting out a big line on all the races. And they've been doing this for decades now. So I pulled up the ColoradoPols.com big line, and they do have Victor Marx as the favorite to win the GOP nomination. They write the Cajun Karate Master seems to be rolling towards the nomination. Barbara Kirkmeyer, second best. Both ways Barb has been stuck in neutral for the better part of the year. And then finally, Mr. Bottoms, Scott Bottoms, has less money in the bank than most state legislative campaigns. So there we go. Victor Marx exercising the Republican Party in Colorado of any chance to win the governorship.
How do you think it works over phone when you're trying to get rid of the demon? Like, do you call him? Does he call you? Can you do it on landline? Or can you do it on cell? Or
It does feel like you'd want to see into the eyes of your counterparty if you're an exorcist.
yeah, like is it FaceTime? You got to FaceTime, right?
is it minor demons only? You know, he has to be in person if it's Beelzebub.
Can you do it on the Trump phone? I mean, we can combine things here.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got to tell you, this guy seems to have some zhuzh. And I mentioned earlier in Iowa, the Republicans have nominated the Thomas Massie. Like there will never be a better line than Thomas Massie's line about how Republicans want to nominate the craziest son of a bitch in the race, and how he thought that he was the craziest son of the bitch in the race till Trump came along. I mean, just prescient. In Iowa, they had like a normal right-wing Christian conservative Trump supporter who loses the governor nomination to a guy that was registered to vote in Kansas until like 2023, but is running an Iowa First campaign on Iowa heritage. And he married into a rich family and then use that money to invest into cock ring manufacturing. And so the Iowa Republican nominee, we have the cock ring manufacturer from Kansas.
Just want to be clear about cock rings here. We're not talking like chickens.
No, we're talking about
come on, Sam.
I just want to make sure.
It's actually, Sam, it's important that you bring this up, actually, because cock rings are pretty popular in the gay community as a way to kind of, no problems here on that front, but it's a way to kind of fluff up your situation, make it look better in Speedos, make it look better at the club. And this particular manufacturer that Mr. Hain or whatever his name is investing in, they were trying to, Mr. Lane, Zach Lane, they're trying to market the cock rings to the straights. And so I'm wondering if you think, like any of your guys', you or your friends might be interested in a product that kind of makes your bulge look a little bit better in your pants. You think that's marketable in the straight community?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do?
How do you know I'm not wearing one right now?
Nope, not.
There is like I think a lot more discourse on straight men. What do they say? Like catching print, right? Like trying to look good in sweatpants, stuff like that.
A little dick print. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So that's your man for the Republican nomination in Iowa. We're looking potentially at the exorcist who may or may not have murdered people.
I just want to keep going on the cock rings for a second.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah.
Do they have that sometimes you can wear rings that kind of monitor your sleep and things like that? You know what I'm talking about?
The Oura ring, yes.
The Oura ring. Like, do they have those for your dick ring or no?
Not that I've heard of. I'm not a connoisseur. I do.
Do you remember the mood rings that we had when we were like?
Yeah. Now we're bringing children into the conversation.
Just to close out Victor Marx, to share a couple more Victor Marx moments. So the murder thing is because he claims his stepfather had him murder a man when he was 7 years old. Seems a little unlikely. But then also,
this is Corey Lewandowski. Yes, Corey Lewandowski said that he was a stabber. He'd stab somebody to death and got away with it.
That's right. That's right.
When he was throwing game at the Benihana.
And he claims, he claims he's rescued 45,000 women and children from 30 countries. Kyle Clark says, okay, can you name like one or two of those countries? And he goes, huh? And he goes, I have guys to keep track of that for me. And he's like, you really don't remember any of them? And he's like, that's what I have a passport for, man. I can't keep track of that.
Oh my God. Do you guys remember, to Tim's point about the crazy son of a bitch in the room? I was thinking back because I forget which one of our reporters was talking about. I think it was Edgar. Someone was talking about like crazy Senate candidates. And I was thinking back to Sue Loudon. Tim, do you remember Sue Loudon?
Only vaguely.
She ran in Nevada, sorry.
Okay. Was it in the Sharon Angle race? Was she also running against Sharon Angle?
Yeah. So she got in trouble because she talked about bartering for healthcare by selling chickens or something like that.
Okay.
And that was like a big crazy thing to say. And that seems so antiquated now. It's didn't Brooke Rollins say stuff like that too? Like we're so far beyond.
You are right.
Where
it was a
we
2010 race. I believe Sharon Angle, or was Sharon Angle 2014? They put out a lot of kooks in the Nevada primaries over the years. Colorado primaries over the years as well. It's interesting that of all the places, you would think that in Colorado, to be quasi political pundit serious for a second, you would do it with Republicans have done, like in a Georgia, right? It's like a blue, or in a Virginia, in a kind of a purplish state. You find your Glenn Youngkin, you find your Brian Kemp. Somebody's going to appeal a little bit more to the suburban college educated Republicans, right? And Colorado just is incapable of doing that in their primaries, and have been since Cory Gardner. Last race, I'm blanking on the woman's name, but they found one of the moms from Liberty Gals whose main issue was the litter boxes in the classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how long I've been at the Bulwark now. It was last cycle. 4 years ago, I did a big investigation into her evidence on the classroom litter boxes. Needless to say, nobody was actually pooping in litter boxes and pretending like they were a cat in Colorado classrooms. But she was very concerned about that. And then Kyle Clark again, who's been around, is pushing her on this, and she wouldn't let it go. And you would think that the Colorado Republicans would do some weed, chill out, try to find a pro-weed, pro-environment, pro-skiing bro, to run. But no,
incapable. Speaking of truly outlandish, controversial Republicans, one of the ones they did exercise, George Santos, is back in the news. I know. What? You just don't want to talk about him?
George Santos wants you to talk about him more than anyone in the history of the world wants to be talked about. I don't find him funny. I don't find any of his bits funny. I know a lot of fat Queenie gays like him who have his same shtick, but do it much better. And I don't like to give him any attention. So for the rest of this segment, I'll be silencing myself.
All right. You can silence yourself. I'm going to tell the news about George Santos. So federal authorities are investigating whether he engaged in insider trading by betting on prediction markets.
I'm so distracted by Tim.
Sorry. Ignore Tim for a second. It appears George Santos basically publicly said he was going to be watching the president's State of the Union address from the gallery. And then he deliberately missed the speech. He bet on the fact that he wouldn't be in the gallery, missed the speech, and then won the bet. Let's play the video. There's 12-second video of him talking about being in the gallery.
But you guys forget, I'm going to be in the gallery. I never said I was going to be on the floor. Or maybe. I'm going to be there for the State of the Union in the gallery, guys. Just chill, trolls, chill.
All right. Well, it turns out that he wasn't in the gallery. He bet that he would not be in the gallery in attendance. And now people at Kalshi are flagging him for investigation, and it looks like there is a federal investigation into whether he committed insider trading. It's always the ones you least suspect, Will.
I have to say, this is kind of on Kalshi, because what an idiotic question to have people betting on in the first, that's very prone to manipulation. If these charges are borne out, I think, he just can't help himself. He loves, committing crimes.
Yeah, I guess the question I have is, the surprise I had was that they're even bringing the charges, right? Like at this point, I just expected that the Justice Department would never investigate anyone who had an R next to their name. They've already helped him out once, but maybe this is just so egregious that they can't let this one go, or he's just a sacrificial lamb. Either way, we'll see what happens with George. Tim, you can speak again because we're going to go to our favorite trio subject matter, Elijah Schaffer.
Oh, the bad boy.
All right. Well,
in another world, me and Elijah could really have hung out. I think. That a few things happened differently for him.
Tim, he rolls with a lot of twinks.
I know, that's what I'm saying. The things happen a little differently in his life. As his dad hugged him a little more, that he felt more fulfilled. Doing volunteer work in high school and college.
Tim, you've been a little thirsty about Elijah, I think. Maybe too thirsty.
Oh boy. So this is Elijah Schaffer.
You want to go there, Tim?
What? He is the peptides are working. This is Glenn Beck's former protege, I should say. This guy was going to be, a right-wing talker icon, but as we saw over the past year, his marriage imploded. He was having an affair with Sarah Stock, another commentator who's sort of a trad wife. And since then, he's really been spinning out. And the latest one was he went on this new kind of rising kind of Groyper-verse show called, bear with me, Chad Champion. Now, Chad Champion is a guy, he's ripped and he's shirtless and he wears a balaclava. And so Elijah went on and he's like, Chad, he made a lot of crazy sexual remarks about Sarah Stock, but he also said, he's like, Chad, I got to tell you, brother, you got to get into having more threesomes with your boys. Just you and a gal. And, you're young now. You won't understand the wisdom of this, but it's really awesome to go to town on a gal with your boy.
I'm speechless.
And Chad Champion was just hitting this button that was like, bruh.
Here's the last red pill that people don't know. What you're thinking a threesome is not... A threesome with your bro and a girl and a threesome with two girls is very different. It's like, well, I don't want to fuck a girl after a guy's been inside her. It's not a guy, it's your homie,
Yeah.
I didn't say just threesomes in general. I'm like, threesomes with your homie. It's your boy, dude. There ain't nothing gay. What, if you skinny dip with your boy in a lake, are you gay because you're naked together? Like, what, are you turned on by your, homie's dick in the gym? Yes, you are. No, but, and it's kind of cool because, you're both trying to fuck a chick and you got your boy there and you're kind of yeah, suck his dick, it's my boy, and it's not your girl, right?
So then he made some truly crazy remarks. Sarah Stock was married, so he was really getting into the relation, all about their affair and what they did. And then he goes on his show and he said, because he had only called into Chad Champion, so he wasn't on video. And then he goes on his show and he said, this awful man is using AI to impersonate me. It wasn't me. I would never, I would never make these remarks. But in fact, it was him.
I'm sorry. I guess I've got to swerve on this one. Is this so wrong? Is his advice so wrong? I don't know, when you guys were in college, you didn't ever like one of your pals and a young lady didn't have kind of a night on the town?
No.
And just say, hey.
He's also not in college.
Yeah, you guys, when you were 40-year-old fathers of two going through a divorce, you've never done this like Elijah.
I mean, what's wrong with a little male bonding? I think that the culture in Europe is a little different. You know, I think that my mates in London, I don't think they would have looked askance at this. I think that sometimes, you know, they went out to the club and came home and met a nice young woman, and the three of them just had a little evening together. And I don't know what's wrong with that.
Okay.
Well, he does say at one point, sort of like during the act, you know, like locking eyes with your boy, like there's nothing better. Make that what you will.
Because it's like kind of a, you know, it's a bonding moment. It's dominance. You know, it's a feeling of like, yeah, you and me, like we're always going to remember this when we're old. You know, when we're in the old folks' home, we're always going to have this moment together, you know, of you and me getting intimate with this broad.
For the sake of not, you know, running away half of our viewing audience, let me explain what's wrong with this. Treating women as conquests for you and the boys is problematic. And talking about the affair you had with a married woman or an engaged woman and the conquest that was.
She was married and the Pope sanctified their marriage in person.
Right, yeah. There's problems there on a spiritual level, in addition to an emotional one as well.
I think it'd be seen differently in France. That's all. That's all I'm saying. You know.
Yes, it would be. It definitely would be seen differently in France for sure. I don't know if we need to get the gubernatorial candidate from Colorado to give exorcisms for Elijah, or maybe he should just move to France. I don't know if Elijah's wearing one of those cock rings that the Iowa guy is selling, but there's a lot going on here.
Or maybe you can move the island in Albania. We've tied it all together, guys. Thanks so much. Good to see you. It's great to be here. The trio. We're working on a jingle. I'm working on a jingle.
We should get a jingle.
I'm working on it.
We absolutely should get a jingle.
Working on
and
a
some
jingle.
merch too, right?
I can't speak to the merch, but I'm working on a jingle. You're in charge of the merch.
All right. With that, fellas, thank you so much, Tim, Will. Appreciate you boys. We'll try to do this more often. Elijah keeps on providing some stuff for us, so we'll do it. Later.